Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Indeed, we have a rebel in the house today.
Oh, yeah, I'm going
Who's wearing the ball cap?
I'm doing this. Steve, I love you, but I just had to wear it. I couldn't resist. The hat is too good.
That is a fresh new look.
Well, he did say he was going bald and had to hide the bald spot. So it's a little bit of a cover-up, but I respect it, Tyus. It's a good hat.
So I want next year. I want all whites with red sleeves.
Yes,
I would do that.
And that hat
would look
right
good.
there.
It's a good-looking hat.
I think they earned it. They earned the right to have some good uniforms that we could be excited about.
Absolutely. Hey, welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. As we start, it's not very often that someone turns 100 years old.
Very infrequent.
100 years ago today, our director Steve's lovely mother Dorothy graced this earth with her magnificent presence. We want to say happy 100th to Dorothy. There she is. Now, Steve, has she ever watched our program? Is she familiar with what we do?
Everything I know about sports.
She taught you everything you know about sports. That's awesome. That's a great answer,
Dorothy
Steve.
and Tyvis.
So, happy birthday, Dorothy. Sweet Dorothy, 100 years. That's incredible. Couple of notes before we start. G. Bush still ill. Upper respiratory. By the way, that's really going around. It's an RSV. I don't know if that's exactly what he has, but that upper respiratory is going around big time.
And
big time.
Earl has it too, so it's.
Earl has it as well. Bull is home. He's on the mend. Bull, good morning to you, my friend. I think he's on the mend. 1 second. Is he on the mend? There he is. Good morning, Bull.
Yeah. Good morning. I didn't say it yesterday for whatever reason, but I'll say today that I did test positive for COVID this week for the first time. And wow. I haven't. It didn't hit me that bad. I mean, I was feeling kind of crappy over the weekend, but I tested negative. And then by Monday, I had tested positive. So that's why I've been out of studio, even though I do feel significantly better. I mean, at this point, it's just a minor cold, but I'm doing okay.
I went through it as well.
I finally got hit by it with 2.5 years.
Yeah, I didn't get it until July, and same thing. It got me like a cold. I was really tired. Headaches, that kind of thing. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Did your wife get it?
She did.
Jay, did your wife get it?
Yes, she did. I got it from her, believe it or not.
That's funny because that's
somehow
that's what happened to me.
That's amazing.
The most bizarre thing, my wife's been sick. Like, the reason I didn't think I had COVID at first was because my son had a cold. We tested him. He kept testing negative. My wife then got sick. We kept testing her. She was negative. So then when I got it, I just assumed it was a cold, because they kept testing negative. Finally, I tested, and then I tested positive on Monday. So, but they, as far as we know, we went for the what do you call it test? The PCR.
The PCR test, yeah.
Yeah, just to be sure.
And they were
still
negative on the
negative.
PCR too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my wife and I right now are sleeping in different rooms.
Yeah, we did that for a while too. It didn't work because I ended up still catching COVID from my wife. I was quarantining for like 3 or 4 days. Same thing. We both kept testing negative. Then she finally tested positive after like 4 negative tests. And then a couple days later, I finally tested positive, but I was negative forever too. Yeah. And it's a weird thing. Anyhow, I hope you feel better. Busy show today. Busy show today. Tim Couch coming up a little later. Coach Tyvis is in the building. Hey. By the way, fresh Cavs sweatshirt. Very nice.
Yeah, it's the game day, so, I had to come in and represent.
Yeah, very nice look.
Playing the Kings. Who knew?
Yeah, I know. Someone here on the staff.
Not you, Mike.
Playing the Warriors.
Mike. Not you.
Mike thought they were playing the Warriors. So in our rundown this morning, we have all of this stuff we're talking about. Do we still hate the Warriors? Is the Cavs backcourt now finally better than the Warriors back? Save all that until
Thursday or
Friday.
I was convinced. I was honest to God convinced that they were playing the Warriors tonight until I checked the schedule this morning to do my prep. Once I found out I was filling in for G. Bush to get like my personal prep ready. They're playing on Friday. I just had them backwards. I could have sworn they played the Kings Friday, but
it happens.
Hey, Mike, thanks. Thanks for confirming you don't listen to my podcast. I appreciate that, since I talked about the upcoming game this Friday with the Warriors like for 7 minutes yesterday.
Well, we put that schedule on screen that Anthony makes every morning of their next game. I've seen it 100 times, and Listen,
it slipped through the cracks. It's okay.
I have enough stuff to back up that one mistake today that by 1 o'clock, I will have completely made up for my.
I hope so. Because we're looking at you. We're looking at you funny right now.
I'm in the hot seat. I'm in the middle.
So Tim Couch, Tyvis is going to break down some plays. What do you got for us today? What are you breaking down?
I got 2 plays that I seen in the Jets game that they're going to run.
Miami's running.
Talking about the Dolphins.
Yes, the Dolphins are going to run against, because you have to look at that game because the Jets run the same defense as the Browns.
Right.
So you have to see what works. And there's one particular play. The first one I'm going to draw up is kind of tricky, and they're going to have to really talk about this one.
Okay. They come at you with 2 of the best wide receivers in football.
Yeah.
I think it just proves Waddle, we know, is a top-tier receiver. But I think, and we'll talk about this later, I think that Tyreek Hill might be, he probably won't win, but might be the most valuable player in the game today because of his impact on everybody around him. He's turned Waddle into Waddle is just yards from being number 3 in the league in receiving yards. Yeah. He's turned Tua, a guy who was fighting for his career, into what most people think now is a top-tier quarterback. And I know it's a stretch, and I know it's not conventional wisdom, but Tyreek Hill's going to rewrite the wide receiver record book this year.
Yeah.
And for me, for my money, at this point in the season, he's the most valuable player. And we can talk about that later. Also, I mentioned Tim Couch. Top 5 celebrations. We've been trying to do that for a while.
2 days now. Got pushed back. We are doing it today. I promise you.
I thought I knew which one was number 1. It was the best one over last weekend.
Yes.
But you're telling me that's number 2. That's number 2. I want to see the one that beats it.
I know which one you're talking about.
The bowling.
Yes.
That one was
that's
great. That is fire.
I looked at that on Twitter like, wow.
That's number 2.
All right. So there's one that's head and shoulders better than that slipped up through our radar?
I think so. Anthony agrees. Earl agrees.
My vote was number 1. Yeah.
100%. Wow.
Is the remember the Titans celebration in there? That happened this weekend?
They did. Who did that?
Who did that?
I didn't see it.
I can't even remember now, but I know somebody did it. It might have been the Bengals, but
I bet it's not in there because none of us know what you're talking about.
It's not in there.
What did they do, Bull? What was the celebration?
Remember it? Did you see Remember the Titans?
Yes.
I remember the Titans.
Did I see? My father played it. My father's the lead actor in there. Yeah, I watched it.
So remember the scene? Remember the scene where they go to Denzel Washington, like, Coach, we're going to warm up a little differently today.
Yeah.
And then they go out and like kind of do that dance.
Yeah.
I think it was the Bengals, but I don't remember for sure. One team did that dance as a touchdown celebration.
Wow. Well, we'll have to look.
Although maybe it wasn't a touchdown celebration, maybe it was an interception. I don't know. But somebody did that celebration this week.
It might have been an interception because I think that some of the more creative celebrations now are by the defense after interceptions.
Yes.
There's a DB on the list.
We don't get a lot of chances to celebrate.
No, I know you don't.
We do. We have to go.
And you all have that inferiority complex too. You all know that if you had better hands, you'd be wide receivers.
We got to go all out. I mean, the bowler one, Harrison Smith, that was.
Yeah, there's some good ones this year.
Man.
Also, I'm excited about this because I finally get a chance to put the belt back on. True or false?
Whoa.
We're doing true. Yeah, that's right.
What are you talking about?
I'm coming for you. I am coming for you.
Jay, you haven't won since the Nom. I'm not worried about you.
And for the record, I am G. Bush in True and False. He sent us the answers this morning.
Oh.
We called him.
So you're just going to give his answers?
I'm just going to give G. Bush's answers.
Okay, that's very good.
You accept.
And by the way, guys,
you accept that?
Yes, I do accept that. That's fine. Fine with me.
Okay.
By the way, guys, Mike calls me up this morning and says, Bull, why don't you give me your true and false answers real quick now? I said, why should I give them to you now? I'm on the show today. I know I'm on remote, so it's a little tricky. But he's like, well, we don't want people to think you're cheating. And I said, I don't give a crap what people think. I think cheaters are scumbags, and I would never cheat. I've never cheated in anything in my life. I don't believe in cheating. I think you're a freaking loser if you cheat in anything, and so I don't cheat. And so if anybody accuses me of cheating, they're wrong, so I'm not cheating.
That's good. That's good enough for me.
You know what I'm going to say?
You
know what I'm going to say? I'm going to do my best Brad Sellers impersonation.
That's some BS right there.
Tyvis, you're out of line. I defended you when you were accused of cheating.
He did.
I won't say who accused you of cheating, but I defended you.
I'll fall on the sword, Bull. I did originally, and then I apologized and said I was terribly
Bull,
wrong.
I know you're not going to cheat.
I can't attack you.
I don't cheat.
Like
you
that.
can't cheat because you don't know who the player is. So therefore,
I have no idea
about it.
Yeah.
No clue.
All right. Very good. So let's dive in, and we do this every week before the Browns game. We match up our offense with our opponent's defense. We did that yesterday. Today, we're looking at the matchup of Miami's offense versus the Browns defense. And just for context, here are some numbers. Points per game, Miami, 10th in the league. Points allowed per game, the Browns, 24th in the league. Not a good matchup there. Yards per game, same story, really. Miami is 5th in the league in total yards per game. The Browns, middle of the pack, stopping the opponent, 15th in the league. This is where it gets interesting. Passing yards per game, the Dolphins are 2nd, only to Kansas City. Passing defense, passing yards allowed per game, the Browns, 15th. Running yards per game, the Dolphins are 29th in the league. They do not come at you with much of a run game.
Yeah.
The Browns stopping the run, not very good against it. 22nd in the league when it comes to stopping the run. When you put all those numbers into the blender, Tyvis, I'll let you start here. What do you make of this matchup, Miami's offense against the Browns defense?
Well, I'm going to tell you like this, Jay. It's one of those matchups where you've seen how the last time the Browns played against the Bengals, they decided to go, instead of having Perion Winfrey, they set him down, had Isaac Rochelle because they wanted that extra pass rush guy.
Right.
I think they have to use that same type of recipe because you think of their wide receivers, you think of our DBs. On paper, at the beginning of this season, we're like, oh, Denzel Ward is great. G. New's coming to his own. And we've got either A.J. Greedy, whoever you want to put in at the nickel position. We look really good in the secondary. And as this season has went on, they've been up and down in games.
Sure.
Denzel Ward coming back, he needs to be healthy for this game. This is one of those games that we've paid him this money. This is a game why we paid him that money, so he can match up against somebody like Tyreek Hill.
Right.
However, I would say he's not the key factor. The key factor into this game will be the pass rush because Miami's, the way that they run their offense, which I'm going to draw up later, they run their routes so deep that if we're running zone, our coverage has to drop back to accommodate for how deep these routes are.
And that takes time to unfold.
Right. So now the pass rush has to get there because if it doesn't, the check down is what's going to be wide open. And since all the defenders are all the way down the field, the check down is going to get you 10 yards.
Are you advocating more blitzing? Because earlier this week when he was on the show, Leroy Horde said, do not blitz.
I would blitz if I know that they're going to get home. If they're going to get home.
Yeah, of course you would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you never blitz with the idea that you're not going to get home.
That's my point. Are we a good blitz team is the question.
We don't blitz much.
When we do, is it effective?
We tend to get home when we bring extra guys.
So I would.
So you would do it.
I would blitz.
In the right spots. You wouldn't be.
I'm not coming in there every play blitzing. No. In certain spots, I would blitz. Yes.
All right.
So I agree with some parts of what Tyvis said. I disagree with a lot of what Tyvis said. And in that Cincinnati game without Jamar Chase, the Bengals went with a very short passing game.
Sure.
And that allowed the Browns secondary to play a lot closer to the line of scrimmage and kind of tackle them right after the catch, eliminate yards after catch. But what Miami does different than every other team in the league is they throw the ball downfield. Tyreek Hill doesn't just lead the league in average yards run per route at 4. That's the highest they've ever recorded in the NFL since they started tracking that stat in 2006. Jaylen Waddle's 3rd in the league. And when you look at some of these numbers, it's a little different with Hill and Waddle than it is with any other pair of receivers in the league based on speed. So I did my research.
Yeah, it looks like
it. Let me just run some numbers out to you guys to put in context how ridiculous what Hill and Waddle are doing this year.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill has 1,107 receiving yards.
Insane.
Now, he's on pace to break Calvin Johnson's single-season receiving record.
He's on pace to go over 2,000.
Yep. Now, people say, well, it's 17 games versus 16. How about this for a stat? Calvin Johnson in that season averaged 122.8 receiving yards per game.
This is the apples-to-apples number.
Tyreek Hill, 122.7. So
wow.
Exactly on pace. You know who's 3rd on that list, by the way? How about
Randy Moss?
Josh Gordon. The year in Cleveland was
117.6.
Well, 0.6. When Tua is at quarterback, Tyreek Hill gets the ball on 38% of his pass attempts.
Wow.
That's 12% higher than any other single receiver gets targets in the league. It's absurd at how frequently they target him. And even
why wouldn't you? Nobody can cover him.
Impressive is where he's getting the most of his work. It's in the middle of the field. Hill and Waddle both run more routes, 9 to 19 yards down in the middle, where they're crossing the seams in between the numbers, than any other receiver in the league.
What do you make of that, Ty?
They're 2, and Cooper Kupp is 3. And let's pull up the passing chart for Tua real quick. This is, I think, the key to what's going to happen here. If you take a look at this, 14 of 15 of Tua's passing touchdowns have been to the middle to the left. He does not throw to the right, which is, as a lefty, across his body to the opposite side of the
Right.
field.
You would expect that to look like the chart to look like that.
But not that diverse. Not that strong where he's always throwing to his strong side. So I think if I'm the Browns defense, I'm sending the house to the left, making him roll out to the right, and try and throw across his body to that side. Because look at the numbers. I mean,
well, that makes perfect sense. But I think, Tyvis, the reason I want you to talk to this, we know that with any left-handed quarterback. I mean, that's what you want to do with any left-handed quarterback. You want to get him away from his strength. It's like tennis. If a guy doesn't have a backhand, you're going to drive the backhand all day long. Can they do that?
They could do that, but I don't think they need to send a blitz. This will be one of those games where you have to put – I would put Jadeveon and Miles on the same side.
On the left side?
Yeah, I'll put him on the left side. If that's the case,
specifically push him to the right.
Exactly, to make him roll out to his spot. But what they'll do is, if that's the case, then they'll be like, you know what, let's just throw jailbreaks to the other side. Because if their best pass rusher is on this side, we're just going to work this side. So it's one of those things that I get it. You know what, you need to go – be in the Browns front office because you're into this analytics.
I love numbers.
Yeah, you're into
I
this
like
analytic
numbers.
things. But over the course of a game, Mike McDaniels is going to figure out, oh, snap, they're doing this, so let's just go ahead and adjust, which then Joe Woods will have to counter with some type of adjustment as well. Like I say, it's all about the pass rush this game.
Yeah.
If that pass rush gets home, I think you have to keep it balanced. If Miles is going to be on that side, all they're going to do is chip him or whatever. They're going to get the protection they need. Whether that's, like Leroy would say, we just going to bring in an extra guy. We got to put Gesicki right there to chip Miles just to get that extra time. We'll do so.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to be that effective.
Bull, what do you make of all this?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Tyvis said, but Mike also made a good point. Tua is averaging over 9 yards per pass attempt. I don't know if you had that stat, Mike. You had so many stats, I can't remember.
I didn't say
Tua's
that
averaging
one.
over.
It was in
excuse me. Yeah, most yards per pass thrown, right? So, like, how what's his average in the air, essentially? And he's number 1 in the league, whereas Joe Burrow, who the comparison was, is number 8. Not that that's that low, but still, it is a significant difference. And Tua is number 1 by a lot. However, the Dolphins' offensive line is definitely not great. So I do think the Browns had success last week because the Bengals don't have a good offensive line. And, yeah, they did try to throw the ball short, but that was only because they couldn't protect Burrow. So, really, they had to get rid of it quickly. So, I think if the Browns can get some pressure on Tua by blitzing and being a little unpredictable, because until last week the Browns' pass rush has been predictable, then I think they can make things happen. However, the danger of that, of course, is if you don't get home, you're in big trouble because – and nobody, we could talk all day about who should guard Tyreek Hill. Ultimately, in a one-on-one matchup, if given time, Tyreek Hill is eventually going to come open. Mm-hmm. So if you are creative in blitz, which I think they should be, you have to get home. If you don't, that's when they hit you with those big plays. That's what it's happened all year. But I don't think you should totally give up on doing it and be scared to do it just because if you don't get there, it's going to be potentially a disaster.
Yeah, it's high risk, high
call.
reward.
Right.
It's high risk, high reward. When you send a lot of extra guys, you know one thing, and it's not like it's just any offense. You know that the best receiver in football is going to eventually become open. Mm-hmm. He just runs routes and gets open. That's what he does. 2 things. For whatever reason, it takes Joe Woods 7 or 8 weeks to figure out what the hell he's doing. We look back to last year, it was Jekyll and Hyde. It was the absolute one of the worst defenses in the NFL the first half of the year. And then it was like he found this magic switch in the dark, and just like that, the Browns became a top 5 defense. I believe he's doing the same thing this year. I don't know why. I have no idea why. Maybe he's studying his personnel. He's figuring out what he has, where the strengths are, where the weaknesses are. But I hope last week wasn't an aberration. That's my hope. I hope that what we saw last week out of the Browns defense is what we're going to see the rest of the year.
Yeah.
If we see that same defense that does blitz occasionally and gets home when they do so,
that's what I'm saying.
I think the Browns will win this football game. I think it all comes down to one thing, to be honest, is Denzel Ward in uniform.
I agree with that, too.
If he's in street clothes, this is a hard L. Yeah. And I don't think there's any other way to slice this. I don't see how the Browns defense, I think that had the Bengals had Chase, they it would have been an entirely different football game.
I agree.
But them losing Chase and Denzel not being there was sort of a wash. Mm-hmm. If Denzel isn't on the football field, I just don't like their chances. If he plays, I think they win.
I agree with that, but that's not – you're right. But I'm not going to say that he's 100% the guy. The guy that needs to have a big game, in my personal opinion, is still Jadeveon Clowney, and I'm going to tell you why. I had this argument with a buddy of mine about his career, Jadeveon's career.
Yeah.
Technically,
you gonna name drop or no?
I'm not.
Okay.
Not. Okay. And when he said it, I was taken back by it. He said that Jadeveon, and I mean no disrespect. Actually, I'm not the one that said it, so it doesn't matter. But he said that Jadeveon Clowney could really be considered a bust. If you look at his stats from his career, his most productive season, he had 9.5 sacks.
Right.
Houston, he was not the number one DN. J.J. Watt was.
Absolutely right.
His next productive team was the Cleveland Browns. He's not the number one DN. Myles Garrett. So this guy is getting a lot of single coverage, and he's not becoming really
That was an
good.
argument I used to hear a lot with Simeon Rice when he played with Warren Sapp in Tampa. So, well, he's the benefactor of another.
Warren's in the middle.
No, I know, but it's another elite pass rusher.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with that. I would never classify Jadeveon Clowney as a bust.
That's what
Jay, I agree with you.
Okay.
Jay, I agree with you.
Tell us why.
To me, because to me, a bust is Jamarcus Russell. That's Ryan Leaf.
Yep. You know what a
it's
bust
when a
looks
guy
like.
is
You know
right.
what one looks like.
Now, I think it's fair to say Jadeveon was not worth the first overall pick in the draft. He's not.
That's fair.
If you're the first pick in the draft, you should be a Hall of Famer. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
But he's
right.
good. He's not a great NFL player. He's a very good NFL player. He's not a great pass rusher. I think that we know. He is. If you look at the way he performs against the run, he's consistently been one of the best defensive ends against the run his entire career, and that has continued. So he's a good player, not a great player. To me, a bust is a guy who's a high pick and is out of the league or completely sucks.
Yeah.
And that's not the case with Clowney.
Bust is just way too strong.
That's why I said bust.
Yeah, too
I was
strong.
like,
He's also been hurt a ton in his career. So
Yeah.
never
He has,
Yes.
but listen,
development
when
part.
you're deciding bust or not, you have to factor that in. And
Yes.
in
He
his
hasn't been a
case,
bust. I agree.
in his case, Bull's absolutely right. Did he live up to the hype of being the top pick in the draft? Absolutely not. No question. Is he a bust? No. He's still in the league. Mm-hmm. He's been a productive player. Yes, he's played with some other really good players, but a lot of great players have. So I think that, look, if he plays the way he can play, this defense should be a top 5 defense.
Correct, and that's what I was leading to.
Right. So
on Sunday when they play, Miles is obviously they're going to have to compensate for Miles.
Yes.
He has to get the one-on-one, and he has to win. He has to win those matchups and really cause havoc back there for Tua. And I think that helps the pass team because Bull's right. You're not about to cover Tyreek Hill for 10 seconds. Like, no, you gotta limit the time Tua has the ball and the time he has to get rid of the ball. It should be 4 seconds at the absolute max.
Right.
Because when you're dealing with these receivers, that's all they really need anyway.
Bull, who's the key player in the game for the Browns defensively, in your view? Is it Denzel?
I would say. I just want to think about that for a second. I'll give you somebody else. A guy who played really well last week, Sione Takitaki.
He did play well.
I thought he had a major impact on the game last week, and I think Denzel Ward. I think stopping Tyreek Hill is a team effort. I don't think one guy can do that by himself. I think it's a team effort to stop these guys because the Dolphins are a weird team. They have these 2 great receivers, and then all their other skill position players are at best average. Their running backs are nothing. Their tight end's just a guy. The rest of their receivers are nothing. So there's 2 great players. We've talked a lot about this team, Jay, the Browns, being a studs and duds type of team. That's what the Dolphins' skill positions are, studs and duds to me. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Can you team effort these 2 great receivers and just slow them down? You can't stop. Mm-hmm. You're not completely going to shut them out. But if you can slow them down a little bit as a team, and I think Sione Takitaki, a linebacker, just going out there and making plays. I know Tyvis has talked about this a lot. DeQuell's talked about this a lot. We need linebackers that are just going to go out and just make a play.
Right.
And Takitaki did that a bunch of times against Cincinnati, and I think he fired up the rest of the defense. When a linebacker's doing that, being disruptive, it makes a huge difference. And in a lot of ways, the Dolphins and Bengals are similar teams. They don't run the ball. They have a great, obviously Burrow's better than Tua, but Tua's playing better than Burrow overall this season. Both have great receiving talent. They're very one-dimensional. And against the Browns have played 3 one-dimensional teams. And 2 of them, or 3 teams that haven't run the ball a lot. I say the Steelers are one-dimensional. They're kind of zero-dimensional. But they beat the Steelers, who don't run it a lot, which sounds weird. They beat the Bengals, who don't run it a lot. They did lose to the Chargers. We all know that was a game they probably should have won, but they did lose. So the teams that don't run a lot, have struggled offensively. Justin Herbert did not have a great game against the Browns. For him, as good as he is, so he didn't play great again. None of the quarterbacks on the one-dimensional teams, even though the Chargers ran it well,
they ran it down our throat.
The quarterbacks on those one-dimensional teams did not have good games against the Browns. Yeah. And if that happens with Tua in this game, the Browns should be able to win because I think the Browns will be able to score.
Tim Couch is on. We're going to bring him on in 1 second. Before we do that, I want your reaction to Taki. When I watched him against the Bengals on Monday night, I literally thought I was looking at a different player. Mm-hmm. He looked like that impact playmaking linebacker that we have been thirsting for. And what was the difference to you? What are you seeing?
Well, to me, is what I've literally been saying for the last few weeks. I think that he's more in the box type of guy. See, Taki is the guy who they're using as a Sam. And at that Sam position, that's the more athletic linebacker who can play out in space. I think for him, he's more effective in the box. He showed that last week. I think JOK would be the guy that would be better suited for the Sam because of how athletic he is. He's not the biggest guy, and he can get around defenders and make those plays.
Right.
So I think him being in the box, he seemed very disciplined. His footwork was great, and he didn't miss any tackles.
He was great.
He seems super instinctual, too, and sometimes that could bite a player in the ass, and sometimes it leads to phenomenal performances like we saw against Cincinnati where he had 13 tackles. And no matter where the Bengals were running with the ball, Taki was in the hole ready to make a play.
And that's what you want. That guy
does scare me a little bit with that instinctual free-flowing style against Miami, though, where there's so much motion pre-snap with Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle, guys that you can't ignore in those pre-snap motions. Tyler Boyd goes in motion. Okay, you could have a step to catch up. Tyreek Hill goes in motion. You have to go with Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Yeah. You're going to be too slow on the outside. So I'm not saying he worries me going to this game, but I'm really curious to see if he can replicate what he did against Cincinnati.
He's going to need
against a team that window dresses a lot more.
I'm interested to see where he plays. Will they put him in the box, or is JOK back now?
Have you noticed that they're using him differently?
I noticed last game, obviously, because JOK wasn't there, but for the most part, he's been at Sam. And like I say, to me, I think he's more of a in-the-box linebacker.
All right, very good. Let's bring in Tim Couch now. We'll talk about some quarterback play. Tim, good to see you again. Your thoughts on the Browns defense trying to put a lid on this Dolphins offense, which really no one has been able to stop, particularly when Tua's been in there. They're 6-0 when he's in there. And what they're doing with the passing game is second only to Kansas City in the league. What are you seeing when you watch this Miami passing attack?
Jay, it reminds me of kind of like the old Rams team, the greatest show on turf. You remember those guys, Kurt Warner and those. I mean, it's explosive plays all over the field. I mean, these guys, Tua has stepped up to a whole other level that, people were kind of questioning whether, was he really going to be this good in the NFL? And now they've surrounded him with the type of weapons to go out there and be the player that he can be. And he's really lighting it up. I'm so impressed with, first of all, how quickly he gets rid of the football. If you watch him play, it's that back foot gets in the ground and that ball's coming out. Like, he's not wasting any time. He's not back there holding it. He's processing information quickly. He's seeing the field, and he's getting the ball into the hands of his playmakers really quickly and accurately, more important, so they can get the run after the catch. So they're difficult to stop, man, when he's in there. They have a team full of playmakers, and they're lighting it up right now.
Tim, it's a chicken or the egg kind of question, but does a great receiver make an average quarterback better, or does a great quarterback make a average receiver better? Because we saw Tua before this season without Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. He was okay, not great. And now this year, obviously, he's one of the 2 or 3, statistically speaking, best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I think it's always, for a quarterback, especially at the level as the NFL, I think it's always going to be about who you have around you. You can be a great player, and if you have average talent surrounding you at the offensive line, the running back, the wide receivers, you're never going to be able to live up to your potential. When you see guys really start to flourish in this league and take their game to another level, it's when they get the weapons around them. And, Tua's, you still have to go out and take advantage of it and be prepared and go to the right place with the ball, be accurate, all those kind of things. But, once you have the weapons around you, man, it makes the game so much easier to go out there and play. Guys making plays all over the field. You trust guys to throw it deep down the field, that they're going to, come up with the ball. If not, they're going to protect it and not let it be an interception. And then the run after the catch ability is phenomenal from these wide receivers as well. They have so much speed, great vision after the catch, and they're hard to get on the ground. So, I think it's always going to be about who you have around you as a quarterback, because, like I said, they can really hold you back as a player, or they can really elevate your game to another level. And we've certainly seen that with Tua this year.
Oh, Timothy, let me ask you this. So the Dolphins are going to go out there and they're going to sell out on the run game. And they're ultimately putting the ball in Jacoby Brissett's hand, and we know that the Dolphins' passing defense is not particularly great. Do you think Jacoby Brissett actually has what it takes to go out there and win a game if it comes down to that, after seeing what we've seen from so far from him this season?
Well, I think he's capable of keeping you in a game. I think he's shown so far this year that he's playing at a level that has really surprised me at times, especially early in games. He's gotten into, certain situations where, the elite players really stand out, the 2-minute drills, those kind of things where, you're asking him to go out and be great. He hasn't been really good in those situations, but when he's been out there managing games, I think he's been accurate with the football. He's taken care of the football for the most part. I've been really impressed with Jacoby and the way he's throwing the ball. And, he's going to have a lot of great opportunities. If they're going to load up on the run, which they should, he's going to have great opportunities on the outside with one-on-one coverages. And, he's just got to get the ball out and get it to these playmakers and let them do their thing. But, I have confidence in Jacoby. I really do. I think he's a guy that can he understands what he's doing. He's seeing the field well right now. And, he just got to continue to do what he's been doing all season.
So Jacoby Brissett has a guaranteed 3 games left as a starter. If you were in his shoes, what would go through your mind, know, these next 3 weeks?
Probably just continue on the path that he's been on. I think right now he's shown that he's a good player in this league. I don't know if he's going to be anybody's starter or whatever, but he certainly deserves to be on a roster and be somebody's backup. And he's certainly capable of he's shown he's capable of coming in and winning football games. He should have won a few more this year than he has. He's put the team in some really good situations. The defense has let him down in a few games, but. I think he just goes out and continues to do what he's doing, stay within himself, and be the player that he has been so far this year. I think he's shown some really, really good things. I've been really impressed with him, and I know a lot of other people have as well.
Tim, I don't know what the answer is on this Browns defensive side of the ball, where they looked so bad last year in the first half. They looked so bad the first 7 games of this season, and then all of a sudden – against the Bengals, a team, now granted they were without Chase, but it's a high-powered offense. Cincinnati was as frustrated offensively as I've seen them this year. What defense are we getting the rest of the way? Are we getting the second half defense from last year, or the first half defense from last year and this year? What's going on?
I think it's a great question, Jay. I think it remains to be seen. They were so impressive, like you said, against Cincinnati. They really got after Burrow. They were getting pressure on him in the pocket. He just didn't feel comfortable the whole night. And, Burrow was playing at a really high level coming into that game. The previous, 4 or 5 games, he was absolutely lighting it up. And, he came in against the Browns, and they had a great game plan for him. They executed. Guys were playing at really high level. And I think we'll see. It's going to be another tough challenge for them this week on the road against a really high-powered Dolphins offense. So hopefully they can have the same type of performance. I think we'll know a lot better about which direction this defense is going to go after this game. Seeing them play against 2 really good quarterbacks in back-to-back weeks like this, and if they can have another performance like they did last week, then I'll feel pretty confident about this team going forward on that side of the ball.
Boy, that's so true. I mean, if you think about it, if they can return to the form that they had the second half of last season, just play like they did against the Bengals the rest of the way. And I know that's a tall task.
It is.
But if they can do that, and then you get Deshaun Watson back, that you would then have, and my hope is it's not going to be too little too late, because in typical Browns fashion, that might be the most frustrating thing that we've ever seen. If they come back and they get Watson back and they're 5-6 and Deshaun plays lights out, and they miss the playoffs by one game, it's good. You're going to go back to that Jets game.
Yeah, that's exactly where they go.
It's going to be the most excruciating offseason ever because you don't have a draft to look forward to. Yeah. And you don't have a playoff opportunity where I think the Browns might be a team that nobody's going to want to see at the end of the year.
I would agree with that. And, Tim, I have a question going off what Jay just said. We saw the Bengals come out this week and absolutely destroy the Panthers. I think it was 42 or 35-0 before they scored. Is there a chance that the Browns defense, although it looked phenomenal against Cincinnati, it was also kind of Cincinnati trying to figure out how to play without Chase, and they got that experience and then came in next week? So I'm not trying to overreact to what we saw from the Browns defense because for the first 7 weeks, it wasn't great. It was great in week 8. So I'm just trying to figure out how to properly gauge what we saw and put it in the right context moving forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. I think Cincinnati obviously had to adjust their game plan, without their star wide receiver out there. And, Burrow is so used to going to him in clutch situations. And when that guy's not out there, it really changes things. But I really think the Browns, from what I saw just looking at it on TV, it looked really impressive to me. I saw guys in position, in the right position, where we saw them out of position so much earlier in the season. I saw guys taking the right pursuit angles. I saw guys being better tacklers. I saw better coverage. I saw more pressure on the quarterback. All the things that you want to see from a really good defense, I saw that. So I would have to, think it was more about what the Browns were doing than what Cincinnati was trying to adjust to. But, like I said, this week is going to be another huge test, and I can't wait to see this defense go against a high-powered offense like Miami. And let's, we'll figure out where we're at after this one.
So, quarterback's perspective, I'm really anxious to get your take on this because there's been a bit of a split on our panel. Leroy Horde on earlier in the week said, do not blitz Tua. But Tyvis, on the other hand, said, look, you've got to decrease his time to throw the football because the longer he has to throw the football, the more likelihood that his receivers are going to get separation, particularly Hill. If you're Tua and you've got these two great wide receivers to throw to, are you waiting for the defense to blitz you, or are you hoping they don't?
Yeah, if I'm Tua, looking at it from his perspective, I certainly want them to come after me because it's going to leave big play opportunities out there all over the field. With these wide receivers, he has to feel like if you leave me one-on-one, I love my chances against whatever DB you're putting out there. But what Tyvis is saying, you do have to get pressure on this guy. If you let him sit back there and you play a soft zone, he's going to pick you apart and take what's underneath the easy throws and all that. So you do have to mix it up. I think, in my opinion, you can't just say we're going to come after this guy every snap because he's going to have too many big play opportunities. But you do have to try and confuse him a little bit, roll coverages late, bring blitzes, where he's not expecting, those kind of things just to try to get in his head. Because if he gets into a rhythm, and like I was talking about earlier, where he's been so good at getting the ball out quickly, where that back foot hits the ground and the football's coming out, you got to make him think a little bit. You got to make him hesitate, get off that first read, try to get to the second and third read, and then by then, hopefully Myles Garrett and company are getting home and getting some pressure on him. So I think mixing it up is the way to go, and just trying to confuse him a little.
So in that vein, Tim, who's more important in this game, a healthy Denzel Ward or Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney playing to the top of their abilities?
Man, that's a tough question. You certainly want all these guys out there against a team like Miami. But, I would probably have to say probably a healthy Denzel because, you got a corner who's making as much money as Denzel is. You got to say, I got to put him out there on, guys like Tyreek and these guys to see what he can do. So I would say him being out there and being healthy is going to be huge in this game.
Tim, so take it back to the Browns' offensive side of the ball. What is your ratio on Nick Chubb carries to Jacoby Brissett's passing in this game, given the fact that the Dolphins' pass defense is terrible?
Right. I would like to see him come out early in this game throwing the football, just to loosen him up.
You might be the only person in Cleveland that feels this way.
He's in Kentucky.
Excuse me, in Kentucky.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, but I do think, early on, the Dolphins, obviously, their game plan is going to be to load up on the run. I think there's going to be some early opportunities to get some plays in the passing game, especially on early downs, first and second down, play action, quick throws, crossing routes, those kind of throws, check downs over the middle to the tight ends, getting the ball out. some bootlegs, some stuff like that. I think there's some opportunities early to soften up the defense a little bit and kind of show them that, hey, we can throw the football. We're not just going to sit here and hand it to Chubb and let you put 8-9 guys in the box and load up on it. We'll throw it if we have to. And then that kind of will loosen it up a little bit. And then you start going to Chubb, and hopefully he's got a hot hand, and he's playing like he has been all season long, and they can start attacking him with the run game. But I think just being balanced, really, I think it's obviously everybody's going to try to take away Chubb, so you have to show them that you're willing to throw the football, throw it down the field, throw some play action, and just kind of keep them guessing.
I will say, Tim, this is a statement, not a question. The last time they did that against New England, it didn't go well. I think they went out there and probably went with that same plan. You know what? We just go attack earlier in the pass, and it just was not good. So we'll see. We'll see.
Tim, Miami does a lot of things really well. One thing they do not do well is force turnovers, though. So do you think with that in mind, I think they only have 3 forced turnovers all season.
Yep.
The numbers are astronomically low.
Second last in the
league. Do you think Brissett and Stefanski can be a little more aggressive in the downfield passing game, knowing Miami doesn't generate a lot of turnovers, or do you still think they'll take the cautious approach because at the end of the day, it is Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah, I think they'll be a little cautious with Jacoby. I think that, they're not going to ask him to do something he doesn't feel comfortable with. You don't want to put him in. We've seen him in situations this year where he's tried to, he got out of his game a little bit, tried to force some throws down the field, and it didn't go well for him. Threw some interceptions, some bad passes, was inaccurate at times. But when he stays within himself, when they ask him to do stuff that he's very, very comfortable with, I think he's looked really good. He's looked really accurate with the ball, and he can make some plays for you in the passing game. This guy's he's a pretty good player, and I've been, like I said, been pretty impressed with him. So I would think that they're not going to ask him to do anything, like I said, to get too aggressive, but just keep him in his comfort zone and kind of what he's been doing all year.
Yeah, it seems like Jacoby really has been 2 different guys too, just like we talked about the Browns defense. For the first 3.5 quarters in most of the games, he's looked very, very good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's where he's really looked bad is when they needed him to score late in the game. And Tim, with that in mind, the one thing you cannot do with Jacoby Brissett, in my opinion, is fall down by 2 scores. Because then you take Nick Chubb off the field, you become one-dimensional, you put the ball in his hands, the focus of the defense is on him throwing it, and that has not ended well for this football team at all. I like your idea of coming out throwing because they're probably thinking, like most teams when the Browns come in, they're going to see a heavy run dose with Nick Chubb. If they can throw it successfully and move the ball, how much does that help Nick Chubb when they do decide they want to run it?
I think it helps him tremendously. It keeps keeps those guys out of the box. It loosens up the defense a little bit. They have to stay honest. They can't just load up and say, well, the Browns are going to be one-dimensional, and certainly we can load up and take that away from them. So I think it helps Nick a lot. And to your point, talking about Brissett late in games and those 2-minute drill situations, or if you've got to have a touchdown, those got to have it drives. I think that's where we see the difference. I think guys are backups in this league at the quarterback position for a reason, and then you got your elite starters, your great players that you're paying all the money to. Those are the guys that can really step up and thrive in those situations. And Jacoby's he's just not that player. What he is a game manager type of quarterback, and he's been really, really good at it so far this year. But when you ask him to get out of his comfort zone and you get in those situations where you say, go be great, he really can't elevate his game to that level. We've seen that time and time again this year. So hopefully they can, like you said, stay ahead of the game a little bit early. Don't get down 14 points. That would be a disastrous situation where you're forced to throw the football a lot. So they got to come out, take care of the football. Hopefully the defense plays as well as they did last week, and then you certainly got an opportunity in this one.
Miami does have a knack of opening fast, though, which is a little bit of a concern for the Browns. Yeah. I got one non-football question for you, though, Tim. Browns coming off their bye week. Did you ever do anything crazy on one of your bye weeks when you were playing in the league?
No, nothing crazy. My bye weeks always consisted of trying to get healthy. I was always pretty banged up. So I was pretty much living in the training room during a bye week and just relaxing, man. Those bye weeks always seemed like they came at a great time. Where your body was just like, man, I need a week off to get healthy mentally and physically. So I never really did anything crazy. Not to what I remember. I don't remember any of our guys really doing too many crazy things. We didn't have any issues with our bye weeks.
It's crazy. You talk about the timing of the bye week, and so often teams will hit a bye week. Like you said, your body needed the rest, just worked out where you got it. But when the season first started and the schedule came out, I looked at it and said, wow, that's perfect. You need that mental reset at the halfway point. So I loved it. But then they went out and they beat the Bengals, and I'm like, no, let's get back. Let's play Thursday night. Let's get right back out on the field and keep that mojo going. How much is that a factor, or is that something that fans build, sort of bake into the cake, that when you get that momentum going, the last thing you want to do is take a week off?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think I felt that same way too. They played such a good game against Cincinnati. You just want to get them back out on the field because they have that momentum rolling. And, a bye week is, it's kind of hit or miss. Honestly, some teams handle it way better. You see some teams come back fresher and with a renewed energy after their bye week, and they're playing at an even higher level. And then other teams come out a little sluggish after a bye week. So I think it all depends on, how the Browns staff has handled this and what guys are doing with their bodies in recovery and trying to get ready for this week. But it is tough when you had such a great game going into a bye week. It does feel really good. You have that good taste in your mouth, like, oh man, we just played a great game. We won a divisional game, and now we got a week off. It feels really good as a player, but at the same time, you're like, I wish we could keep this momentum rolling a little bit.
Yeah, it would be nice. We just showed the graphic there. Kevin Stefanski 2-0 during his brief career as a head coach after the bye week. I think that certainly bodes well for what the Browns are looking to do on Sunday. Tim, always great to see you. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next week.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You bet. Tim Couch.
Thanks.
Anthony, you got some business to take care of there? I saw you raising your hand.
No, I think Coach Tyvis is about to break down some plays for us.
Yeah, he's been over there diligently writing down his play to start things. What play is this that you saw?
This was a play that I watched. I watched the New York Jets game yesterday, and I came up with this play because it's very tricky. So I'm going to show you. I was going to do two plays, but then in making a quick adjustments, I want to give you this play versus cover 3 and cover 1, seeing that that's
was
what
this
the
a
Browns
big
do.
play for the Jets against the Dolphins?
It's a tough cover is what it is.
Okay.
It's one of those plays that I seen and said, this is going to be a problem for the Browns.
Okay.
So when you see this play, it's in 12 personnel. 12 personnel is one running back, 2 tight ends. This is Waddle. This is Tyreek Hill. So we're going for the first, I'm going to do cover 3 for the beginning. So at the beginning of this play, he motions all the way over, and they snap it on the run. Boom. He goes up over there. This is Waddle. Waddle is close, and he goes over this way. This is Gesicki. He comes back this way. And then this is another tight end who goes and sits right here. So versus cover 3, initially, he'll be on him. As he motions over, this will be Genu. He'll move over to be on top of this guy. As he goes up, depending on how they talk this route out, he could tell him, hey, alert the over, and he could drop it. But if he doesn't do that, he's responsible for taking this over route. So for this, let's just say he takes it. He goes with it, right? He goes over that way.
So he's taking Waddle.
Yeah, he's going to go over with Waddle because it's Waddle and everybody fears
But he's
Waddle.
not following Waddle across the field.
No,
he's staying,
he has to just carry it and then he drops it. So this is buzzer. This is a buzzer. He will be over here. This is a hook dropper, 10-12. Hook dropper, 10-12. Buzzer, obviously he's rolling with Tyreek Hill. So what makes this play so difficult is this. This is ran so deeply that these guys have to accommodate. So this hook dropper has to take Gesicki on this. This is his actual responsibility. This hook dropper right here, Will, has to take this Waddle, which is you're asking a linebacker to check Jaylen Waddle. So now he's in a panic mode.
That's a mismatch.
He's gone. But remember, you still got this guy a little bit over the top, which if he's smart, he'll favor it a little bit to give him some body help. But the problem is now everybody's gone. So if you go back and watch this play against the Jets, guess where Tua went with the ball?
Well, I would say
here because nobody's there. He's gone. He's rolling. He's buzzing. So This play got them 12 yards because everybody is gone because they're so scared of the speed, which is what I was saying. The check down is actually going to get you a first down every time.
They ran this play 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
too.
This is like one of their best plays, and like I said, it was against the Jets, so it was one of those things that we're going to
Is that something they break out on 3rd and long?
This was actually, I think it was a 2nd down play.
Yeah.
1st and 2nd down play.
But if it was effective, was it effective the majority of times?
Yeah, because everybody took off. So the way that you can counter this is this. This is the only way that I can really see this thing working like this. So instead, at the beginning of this play, if he tells him, hey, alert the over, right? I'm dropping this, okay? So he drops this over to this Will. He's going to have to favor it over here. He then picks this one up right here. This corner picks this over up from this tight end. This over up from this tight end. He does that. This Mike is off the hook. He has no drop, so he can come back and now he can pick that up.
Now, is that on the fly communication?
Yeah, no, so pre-snap. As he goes over, this guy's already reduced. So he should say, hey, alert the over. If he goes over, I'm dropping it. Boom. As the play goes, he goes, hey, over. As the play goes over, he drops it. This wheel picks it up. He drops that. He picks this guy up right here because after you drop something as a corner, your eyes is to look to see what's coming back. As he sees this coming back, he will then have to call the mic off and say, hey, I got it. Drop it. I got it. Meaning he's going to pick it up. This Mike can then go to his thing and then look back and see that and make the play. That's literally one of the only
ways. What kind of deep help is available on Tyreek if he decides to go outside of the field?
None. This is third. He's rolling. You better just go ahead.
Well, that's my fear on that is I know that's not maybe not the first option.
Yeah.
But if he isn't covered off the line, and I know it's a cross-body throw.
Yeah.
But that's what I would be most afraid of.
No, I wouldn't be worried about that because if this Denzel.
If it's Denzel, I'm not worried about it. If it's not Denzel.
Whoever it is, this is why you should play it deep to short because you have this buzzer here. This buzzer typically could be an inside piece or he can have you. So if he, say Tyreek Hill went up and then decided to do a comeback, this buzzer has nothing. So he should be able to play anything underneath.
Right.
So you should be just, I'm over the top, I'm deep. If he runs something short, we'll take that as a win.
So is he 10 yards off the line of scrimmage to start?
This guy he is about 8 yards off the tight end.
You would think for most receivers that's enough cover. I don't feel comfortable with
the corner. Listen, you can't. It's not like the corner's pressing.
I mean, I'm just saying
he's coming over. He's already off. So
Tyreek
roll.
And he's got a running start.
Yeah, just roll. You just roll with it. You just take it. And it's not as hard as y'all think. Like I went up against Marquise Goodwin, who's a freaking Olympian.
He's a freak.
Yeah, just take off.
I know Marquise well.
Yeah, just
Tyreek's
take off.
1 of 1 though. Marquise Goodwin
is an Olympian we talking about. He
Tyreek's
just take
still
off.
101.
If you stay over top, Tua's gonna look and be like, "Oh, it's not there." Boom. So that's that. So now I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna run it again, and we're gonna do it in the man-to-man. We're gonna do it in the.
What do you think the Browns are gonna predominantly play on Sunday? They will play zone.
Zone.
They won't man Tyreek and zone everything else.
They're gonna have to run man eventually because. Like I say, these routes is going to make them go into man because that's the only way the check downs is going to get covered because everybody's going to be so afraid.
If you're Tua, you want man, don't you?
Yeah, of course you do. But if you're in zone, that's why your pass rush has to come to life. That's why I keep telling y'all this is going to be a big game for Jadeveon because in this guy chipped his D in, then ran the route. So he's going to be slow on it. But this guy got a free release. So Jadeveon has to find a way to get home.
And while you're drawing this next thing up, PFF, I know we're not in love with their grades, but Teron Armstead, their left tackle, 12th out of 78 graded. Their right tackle, Greg Little, 78th out of 78th. So if you're going to attack someone, the right tackle.
Greg Little.
Texas kid. He's the one to attack.
Yeah.
All right. So if this is man, this is how it would look. Because corners travel over in man-to-man. So you would.
So he's following Tyreek.
Yeah, you would know from the snap if they in man because the corner's going to be over here.
And a lot of times that's what they're looking for. Right. They want that intel.
So this is how this will work. It's one or two ways, and they're going to have to talk about it. If Denzel got that assignment on Tyreek, and that this is Denzel, or if this is Denzel, he's going to roll with it. So let's just say that this is Denzel. So he's going to motion over with it. All right, boom.
Already, that scares the crap out of me.
That's
why me too.
That's why nobody really
you're already behind. You're already behind.
Exactly my point. This is why I don't really want to run man. So, boom. Obviously, Jaylen Waddle's going to take him. This safety's going to take him. And then this guy right here, Sam's going to take him. So, it's covered. But the problem is now you got two fast guys running away from your coverage. And we know that that's hard to do.
And if it's
especially with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. And you only got one high guy. So, and he got to – if this is J3, who you want him to help? Waddle? Or Tyreek.
Well, let's pick your poison.
My point.
But I would, in this scenario, I would say I want help on Tyreek.
So you would want him to go over here. So this guy's just going to streak down the middle.
It is 6 is one, half dozen is the other. They can burn you.
Which they said, where is he most accurate at? Where is
on the left and in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Man is really not a great option for this either. You would have to run that zone and have the corner drop.
But, you know, I'm surprised because this is a big part of their offense and this is a formation we see a lot. I'm surprised that Tua doesn't go to the right side more often.
Yeah, me too.
Because they're looking for isolation on that side. And Tyreek, in most cases, unless the pass rush gets home quickly, in most cases, Tyreek is eventually going to become open.
Yeah.
And you would think that would be stealing. That's candy.
And that's why the pass rush adjusted, because you can't allow it. If any given play, if Tua has a bunch of time, Tyreek's eventually going to get open.
Yes.
It don't matter what call it is. You could call it a perfect coverage. You can have the best athletes, but that man runs so fast that it's hard to stay with him. I always tell my story about his rookie year was my rookie year, and my special teams coordinator said, I was on punt block. He said, Tyreek was he was the PP. He was the guy that, to go set, the dude who do all that. He said, Tyrus, you got that guy down the field. Block him. But I'm going to let you know something. He's really fast. Like, they say he legit runs 4.1, 4.2. So I'm like, coach,
Tyrus, I run a 3.9.
No. I'm like, coach. Everybody says that they run fast. They're like, Tyrus, I'm telling you, he's legit fast. Okay. So we get out there in the game. And boom, he shuffles out and he takes off running. Ran right past me, Jay. I couldn't catch
because he's at full acceleration and
yeah,
4 steps.
it was like I was like, oh my goodness. So I come. He goes down. He forces the fair catch. So I'm running to the sideline. My special teams coordinator standing there. I told you he was fast.
There's fast and then there's Tyreek fast.
He different.
I know that you looked at me like I had two heads when I said he's my MVP this year. And I know that Cooper Kupp is.
No, the Rams suck.
I wouldn't even put Cooper Kupp in. I mean, I would say what Jalen Hurts is doing is unbelievable.
Yeah,
too.
I know because most people always want to go to quarterbacks, but the reason I say that he's the MVP, your MVP has to make people better.
He does.
And Tyreek definitively makes Waddle better, who was already good to begin with.
So Tua didn't go 6 or 7 of 8 at the end of the year last year?
Tua, to me, was average last year.
Tua won games last year.
Tua did win games.
So
he did it with the defense.
Much better
but
than
remember Kirk Cousins is 7-1, though, and no one's saying he's an MVP candidate. They're winning games because
and last year, that Dolphins defense was
really
insane.
good.
It was. It was.
When they beat
I'm not
the Ravens,
saying it wasn't, but I'm saying they won games, though.
They did win games, but I don't think they won because of Tua. I think they won with Tua.
I
think this year they're winning because of Tyreek Hill.
I'm with you. Tyreek is a one-of-one weapon in the NFL.
Who else does what he does?
He's the equivalent of Steph Curry on a basketball court, except on a football field, where the entire defense has to shift over to. You like that, don't you? See, but you don't
make an NBA comparison.
Because Tyvus kind of.
You would have been better if said he's Giannis.
He's not Giannis.
One of one.
But my point is with Tyreek, the entire
there is
defense.
Nobody like that.
Gronk was the Giannis of the NFL.
No, he was not.
Size-wise, he's unstoppable.
No, he was
unstoppable.
not.
I mean, it's
Aaron Donald is like
a whole different conversation.
Aaron Donald is Giannis. Yes.
We're talking non-quarterback
Aaron
MVPs.
Donald, and we saw him do it, can take over a game.
Cooper Kupp last
any
year
game.
is the Giannis.
Yeah.
But
I think Tyreek is that guy this year. I do.
I would agree. And Micah Parsons is the non-quarterback MVP right now, if we're going to get down that path.
I think that's fair. We are going to reset before we get to the top of the hour. I want to remind people, I'm going to have you do this because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't. I have no idea.
Jay takes 1 week off.
There's some sort of subscription. No, listen, I could have been here last week. I still wouldn't know what the hell I'm talking about on this. We now offer subscriptions here at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I know it's part of a club.
Yes.
You're part of a club. I know that the club has benefits.
Yes.
I don't truly understand all of it. It's for $1.99 a month. I mean, that's
$24 a year. You get to use all the custom emojis.
Now, what does that mean? Custom emojis.
So in the YouTube chat, you see those 4 right there. There's 12 now, so there's 8 more that are not featured. We have Tyvis. We have Happy J. Tyvis is in there. We have Happy Polk in there. We have.
Do we have That's Some BS from Brad Sellers?
That comes at that gets unlocked at a certain number of members. So
and
that's
that allows you to then post those in our chat.
And it's a little flex on everyone else. I'm part of the Cool Kids Club. And then coaches tiers for $4.99 a month, which is just $60 for the year. And we do an overtime segment after every show. Jay, you did your first one yesterday.
Yeah. That's right.
And it's a 10, 15-minute little, it's going to be some days.
That's exclusive content.
Off topic.
And that's a bad job out of you, Mike.
What?
I mean, the point of it being
was there.
the point of it being $4.99 and not $5, so you can stay under $60 a year, not $60 a year.
Well, I don't know. Do taxes count on this?
He makes a very good point.
No, I don't think it's taxed.
Then it's under $60 a year. How about that?
Under $60 a year,
Yes.
you could be in the coaches tier.
Yeah, and the overtime content's anything from yesterday we made a presidential ballot to we talked Kyrie Irving last week. Today we're going to do a segment that
we did the presidential ballot yesterday. I thought that was fun. That's
good, yeah.
available only on our coach tier exclusive content. You weren't here for it yesterday, so what we did was we picked current rostered Cleveland athletes.
Okay.
And Bull, I want your answer to that before we move on.
And we picked a presidential ticket. Well, Bull was here yesterday. He gave his.
Not in overtime.
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's right. He didn't stick around for the overtime. What's your presidential ticket from Cleveland athletes? Who do you want? Who's your Prez? Who's your Veep?
Current athletes only. Current Cleveland athletes.
My president?
You think about it. Bull, you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, my answer is none of them, because that's the problem in this country is we're putting unqualified people in positions they shouldn't be in,
this is
right?
a fun question. You're
All
right.
right, but
I want Nick Chubb as the president because he's a man of action.
You don't talk, though.
That's why.
That's my point.
You know what? That's why I had him.
He gonna get it done.
that
He
was
ain't gonna
Jay's
say
pick.
nothing.
That's
but he gonna
exactly
get it done.
why I had him. I said we've had
Fair.
enough presidents that just blow hot air. I don't need that. I want a guy that comes to work, does his job, and when he does it, he gives the football back to the ref.
My VP will be Donovan Mitchell, a guy that excites the city.
Okay.
When he
It's a good
comes
ticket.
to events, people are excited. Oh my goodness, it's Donovan Mitchell.
I could get behind that ticket. Bull, now I know you said you wouldn't put any of them on there because that's the problem with our country. We keep putting unqualified people out there. I'll co-sign that, by the way. But for the fun of this exercise, who would you put on your ticket and who would be your president?
All right, so my president is going to be Jose Ramirez.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Although he's not eligible, right? Because he wasn't born in this country.
No, but you know what? You weren't here, but I dropped all of the eligibility requirements because also Josh Naylor was someone's presidential selection.
Josh Naylor was
he's Canadian.
Jason's pick.
He had Josh Naylor. So it would be interesting though. Could you imagine his news conferences? He'd have to do all of his news conferences with a translator.
I like it. We could just make up what he says. And so he's my president.
Can you imagine the spin zones coming out of that? The Republicans.
Unbelievable.
And then
I'm staying out of it.
I got to get a pretty face for vice president to distract from all the nonsense that's going on. So we'll get Kevin Love there to distract everybody.
There you go. See, that's perfect.
Be the vice president.
I'm with you. I had K-Love as my vice president and Chubb as my president. And I think that's a winning ticket.
That's a good ticket.
I think that's a damn good ticket. It's going to get – and I went with Chubb for the same reason you did.
You know how many people want to party with the VP?
That's right, man.
Donovan Mitchell, turn it up.
All right, we're at the top of the hour. We're resetting a little bit. Are we gonna do the top five?
We're gonna do top five. Yeah, let's do it right now.
I'm so glad we're gonna do
lead
that.
us on top five today.
All right, very good.
So not only do we have a top five, we have a dead last. So I want to start with the dead last.
So the worst celebration
of the year, and it fits because it comes from a member of the Miami Dolphins. And
don't say it's Gesicki.
Tyvis, let's see it. Anthony, just play it. The Gesicki Gritty is the worst celebration we've seen in a long, long time. The Gritty is fine. This version of the Gritty is horrendous. It hurts to watch. It takes all the swag out of the dance that Justin Jefferson created.
Why he can't? No, first of all, a lot of Gritty created.
Well, but I mean, that Justin Jefferson brought to the NFL.
Yeah, don't do that. To get that man his
That's terrible. That's
guys,
terrible.
first of all, and one of my favorite players does it all the time too, so I'll still be critical. The Gritty is played out at this point.
It's jump the shark.
It's like do something new.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bull. Every time I see a player do it now, the first thing I think is it's done. It's tired.
The only people that can do it is Justin Jefferson has to do it.
He was the first one
I know he has to do it. I don't mind Odell's version of it, but I just think it's tired now.
Well,
I agree.
I don't think Odell would. When he comes back, I don't think I'm with you. I think.
Well, he did it last year. He did it all
Guys,
last year was still high.
Yeah, maybe.
There are three things that NFL players do that I'm completely tired of. Number one, the Gritty, I'm done with it. But that's number three. The three other things that NFL players do that I'm so sick of, and they're all completely lame. One, the guys that are doing this. Whatever the hell that is.
Wipe your nose.
Wipe your nose.
Wipe your nose.
That's stupid. They look like idiots
Here's
when I
the
do
other
it.
one, right here.
That's number 2.
Yes,
Thank you.
I
I'm
can't
so
stand
sick
it.
of that.
Feed me.
I can't
What
stand
you
it.
mean?
And
Feed
then
me.
the worst, even worse than that, Feed Me's awful, but even worse than that and so lame is pointing for the first down. Good for you. Congratulations.
I got you,
Guys
boy.
have been doing that a million years.
Who started that? Was
I'm
Keyshawn the
gonna
guy
let
that
you know
started that?
something.
I think Keyshawn is the guy that
I'm
started
gonna let you
that.
know something. That was one of the things that pissed me off the most. Somebody get up in front of you and go like that and drop the ball in your face.
You guys are missing the most obnoxious one is, and Tyvis, I love you, brother, but when a ball's overthrown by 10 yards and a DB then goes like he had anything to do with it.
Like he did anything.
He blanketed it. What you mean?
It was overthrown by 20 yards.
He couldn't throw the ball where he wanted to because I'm in the spot.
No.
So he got
Well,
rid
how
of
about
it.
last week? Guys, how about last week in that similar vein? Jay, you weren't here for this when I brought this up. But in the Bengals-Browns game, Evan McPherson misses a field goal. The Browns didn't block it. He just missed it. He choked on the kick.
Yeah.
And Prefer's on the sideline like this, like he did. You suck, Prefer. You had nothing to do with him missing that kick. You should still have your ass fired out of town.
Listen.
You got, hey, when you
Prefer gonna make the play of the game.
You got to celebrate any chance you can get, man.
Special teams, this is the week. I feel it.
It
This is the week.
I just have to say the best use of the point in the first down was Claypool celebrating the first down and then losing the 2-minute wasting all the time last year. That was my favorite thing. I hate Claypool. It was so fun.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the best celebration.
So these are only from this season.
5-1.
5-1.
All right.
Little backstory in the first one. There's not a lot to celebrate in Green Bay this year.
No.
They don't score many touchdowns. But you remember Aaron Rodgers took ayahuasca this summer? Talk about his journey on ayahuasca?
Yes, that's right.
Well, how about after this, Alan Lazard passing out shots of ayahuasca to everybody and they all pass out in the end zone. I very much enjoyed this.
That was pretty good.
Very much enjoyed this.
That was good.
I don't think they've scored a touchdown
but who
since.
would know what that is, Mike? How did you even know what that is?
People do know what that is.
Yeah, it's very obvious, Bull.
Really?
Yeah, people do
get
know
out
what
more,
that is.
Bull.
Mike
Get out
have
more.
to explain that one to me.
I guess I'm not in the ayahuasca loop.
Well, it became a thing when
he went on a podcast and told the whole story. And ayahuasca is, I think, illegal in a lot of places. And he had to go to South America to do it. And
you're right.
You trip on it, and he talked about his journey of refinding himself while tripping on ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And it became a pretty big storyline.
And because of his comments on it, people, I think, and that brought it into the light. Because I'd never heard of it. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And I Googled it, and I'm like, oh, whoa, okay.
There's two famous people who have that I know of that have
Robin
admittedly.
Robin Quivers.
3 then. Quivers.
Well, she's not famous.
Matthew McConaughey.
She's
Yes,
not?
Matthew McConaughey.
The crazy
No, Robin
ayahuasca.
Quivers married someone who was famous.
Are y'all saying that y'all would
No.
Robin
Quivers
Quivers from Howard Stern. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all would try it?
No, I would
No.
not try it. Not
No.
for me.
Bull, you try it?
No way.
Matthew McConaughey
No
said he
chance.
took it and went in a lion den with a real lion and just petted the lion because he.
No, he didn't. He's a liar.
That's his
There's
story.
no
I'm
way
just
he
saying.
did that.
That's his story on ayahuasca. It was a great celebration. I enjoyed that. They haven't scored since.
It was a great
haven't
celebration, but
scored
you're
since.
right. They've all played like they've been on ayahuasca
Since.
the whole entire season.
Since.
All right, what's for number 4?
Well, somehow in the wildest turn of events, we mentioned this guy's name on the show, but Anthony played the video. How about Marquise Godwin?
Goodwin.
Goodwin, sorry.
Yes.
With the long jump celebration after scoring a touchdown in the Seahawks.
Yeah.
He's an Olympian for the long jump, and if you could do it, do it. You're the track guy.
No, listen, my son competed against Marquise his entire collegiate career and at the Olympic trials. Ooh. And the highlight of my son's career was he beat him at the last Olympic trials. And they had a lot of rivalry. They had a lot of meets where Corey would beat him and Marquise would then. In the big meets, Marquise always beat Corey in the NCAA championships at the first Olympic trials.
Right?
What's that?
He went to Texas.
He was
right?
at Texas. They became friendly, but at the last Olympic trials, my son beat him, and he said, that's a good way to. That was the last jump of his career. He said, I sent him into retirement. But that was, when I saw it, I immediately texted Corey. I'm like, have you seen it? He goes, yeah, I saw it. Fresh.
And you guys talk about the gritty being overplayed. Like, that hasn't happened. That's a brand new celebration.
Yeah,
It's creative.
It's
It is
creative
cool.
and
The
signature to
long
God. Well, to Godwin, it's signature to him.
Yeah. He's actually done it before.
I'm about to say he
he
did
has
it
done
when
it
I was
before.
with
When he
him in
was in
San
San Francisco.
No,
he
but
did it.
that's his jump, and it's still a great celebration.
Yeah, no, it is
I
good.
think even Odell has done something. I think he did the triple jump or something in the end zone.
I like all those creative.
Yeah, they're
It's
good. They're
different.
good. They're fun.
Okay, number 3, Anthony, don't take it yet. You guys remember when Kyler Murray signed his extension this offseason?
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And they put in the clause that he has to study. Well, he got picked off this year by Patrick Peterson. Take the video now, Anthony.
Yeah, this is good.
And Patrick Peterson starts playing Call of Duty in the end zone with his teammates. He said he had no idea what he was doing or what the game is, but after picking off Kyler Murray, returning it for a pick six, he started playing Xbox.
He put the headset on.
That is awesome. Elite. Vikings.
That is great.
The Vikings are the team of celebrations.
That is very
great.
Yeah, that so Patrick Peterson didn't know how to play Call of Duty.
Patrick Peterson said, "I know the game exists. It's on Xbox. I've never played it, so I just started mashing buttons."
I can't believe that he has never played.
Yeah, how do you miss out on Call of Duty?
Yeah, I mean
I've never played Call of Duty.
That's like never heard of
Fortnite. You haven't lived, buddy.
Yeah,
I just played. I just played it yesterday.
Did you get the new one?
I haven't played a video game in 30 years, probably.
Wow.
Whoa, pick it up. Can you point and shoot?
I don't like that question.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, yeah, that's literally what it is. You aim.
There's a lot more to it than that.
That's
it.
it.
I mean, there's a lot more.
I guess I played Pac-Man a couple of times.
Pac-Man.
Close enough. Close enough.
Okay, number 2. We're going back to the Vikings. Yeah. This is the one we alluded to earlier.
Yeah, I think this is number 1.
Let's take it. As far as team celebrations go, this is number 1. The bowling ball celebration. They all fall down.
I don't know how.
The woozy.
No, I like the wobble pin.
The wobble pin's the best part of it. Yes,
finally falls.
the wobble pin is phenomenal.
We picked it up too late, though. We didn't see this. There it is, where he rolls the ball.
He literally physically bowls.
There's no way. I don't know what number 1 is, but that right there was.
It's a great team celebration. Now, once again, this was a vote. Me, Anthony, and Earl all put these together.
All right, can I guess what might be number 1? Is it the pick 6 where the defensive back dove into the end zone?
No,
because I've never seen.
I want to go. You talking about the Cardinals game?
I call that out.
We will consider that an honorable mention.
That's an honorable mention.
Man, that's I gotta tell you, that dude flew in the air 19 feet.
It was incredible. We showed the replay like 20 times.
I know because I had asked you guys if you'd seen it.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. What's number 1?
Do you have a guess, Tavis?
I have no idea.
This is, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Anthony's.
And Earl's. And once again, it's a signature celebration.
Okay.
That has now been mimicked by other guys in the league. And when your signature celebration gets mimicked, it has cachet. Anthony, let's take it.
I'll go on record.
It's the Waddle.
My favorite one of all time.
It's the Waddle. It's his last name. Who doesn't love Penguins? And now other guys in the league, and more importantly, defensive players on the Dolphins, when they score, they're doing the Waddle. And
it is good.
It's great. I mean, maybe the bowling ball is more creative,
gets me every time.
It gets me.
I'm still going to put that at 2, and the bowling is number 1 for me.
Guys, I think you're all wrong. I think the one that was number 3 should be number 1. I thought that was the best one.
The Call of Duty?
Yeah, it was good.
I thought that made me laugh out loud.
The bowling one was better than that.
The bowling's not even accurate. There were more than 10 pins.
Listen, the reason the Call of Duty is because everybody wasn't in on it. It was just a bunch of guys behind him doing whatever. He looked like the only one that was playing the game. That's what made it. If they all would have clanned up and started playing games and start celebrating, that would have been great.
In conclusion,
at least Jaylen Waddle just did a waddle. Who cares?
That's his name.
Waddle.
That's his name.
In conclusion, the Dolphins had the best.
That's no creativity.
There's no. That's very creative.
Chad Johnson and Terrell Owens is not in the league anymore, so the celebrations haven't.
Who's the greatest celebrator of all time?
One of them two.
But who is it for you if you had to pick one? Because I have the right answer, but I'll save mine until everybody else goes.
Can I throw a curveball?
Sure.
He only had one celebration like this, but when DK Metcalf got on his knees and peed on the fire hydrant in the egg bowl,
that
might be my single favorite celebration.
Yeah, but see, I'm talking about body of work.
Randy Moss mooned the whole Lambeau.
Yeah, Randy Moss did. T.O. was very creative. Everybody was waiting for him to score to see what he was going to do next.
Joe Horn with
the cell phone that took it to another level.
Who's the undisputed?
Bull, I think, can get this.
Deion Sanders.
Bull, who is...
Ickey Woods. Woods.
No, see, I kind of leaned him that way when I said Bull would get him. Think old school. He is the godfather of the celebration.
Billy White Shoes Johnson?
You got it. I knew Bull would get it. Billy,
you ever heard of Billy
White Shoes Johnson. Now, Bull,
Steve got it
the young whippersnappers on the set just looked at each other and goes, who the hell's Billy White Shoes? Have you ever even heard of Billy White Shoes Johnson?
Yeah.
Call him up on Tag Board. I'll guarantee you it's on Twitter somewhere.
After true or false, we'll look it up because
Billy White Shoes Johnson was the godfather of the celebration. He was the first, as far as I know, Bull, am I right? The first to ever do it. Nobody had done anything. Guys used to spike the ball. They would slam it a la Gronk as hard as they could.
Yeah.
But when Billy White Shoes Johnson, who was a punt returner for the Oilers and the Falcons, I think, when he reached the end zone, he did a classic dance that took the NFL completely by storm. Icky Woods, you're right. The Icky Shuffle did too. I mean, when you get endorsements for your dance,
he's still doing it. He had the Super Bowl commercial
Icky is still cashing checks off the Icky Shuffle. So Icky has got to be top 5 all time. Yeah, you have it. Yeah, you definitely have it.
One of my last points here, Bull, is I think the Waddle, you'll start seeing like everybody doing it. Like,
well, I'm gonna tell you,
teams, everyone.
Well, but NFL players generally have bad taste. NFL players generally have bad taste. No offense, Ivan.
Whoa!
I mean,
shots fired.
They think doing the sniffing the fingers thing
no,
is good.
No.
So
it's not snipping. It's wiping his nose. You wiping his nose.
I don't get that one either.
Bothers me. It irritates me to know.
You know what it is? It's because that might have been the worst shot attempt I've ever seen Jay Crow. Oh, Steve, get that. Please get that, Steve. Oh, my gosh.
I heard that one from here.
You might not ever need to shoot again.
So I was trying to get it over the camera, so I knew I had to get it high, but that was the weakest attempt I've ever made. All right,
that was like airbowling a dunk.
Was it true or false?
Yeah, we're going to do true or false here next, guys. This is my first time running true and false, so don't...
Were you able to find Billy White Shoes Johnson or no?
I will look it up after true and false.
Okay, let's do true and false.
Ready for that.
All right.
I'm G. Bush, by the way. G. Bush sent his answers in on speakerphone.
Okay.
So I have his answers
right here on this piece of paper.
Okay, very good.
What we're going to do today is I will read the question like normal, and then we're going to go to Bull's answer first.
No music,
and then we'll go around the horn here.
Oh, Jadeveon Clowney. By the way, I'm winning this.
Okay.
I'm just calling my shot.
Clowney. Okay.
Calling my shot right now.
You must know him.
I'll say G.
No,
G did not do very well.
I'm done losing to you guys. You don't understand.
Please, God, let me win this one.
G did not do very well.
I don't have to win ever again. I just want this one.
All right. You guys ready?
We're ready. Yeah.
Okay, so our first one. Clowney is one of 3 NFL players to record at least 60 tackles for loss, 8 forced fumbles, 150 quarterback pressures between 2016 and 2019.
60 tackles for loss, 8 forced fumbles, and 150 quarterback pressures.
Anthony, you're going to have to keep score, too.
I know. I literally just said, where are my sticky notes?
Yeah, I got this one. Got this one.
You probably do.
What up?
You probably do. That's the sick thing is you probably do.
I might. All right. Are we ready to show our answers?
Tyvis says false. Bull says false. G. Bush says true. Jay says true.
All right, guys. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
It's
Let's
true.
go. Let's go, baby.
No kidding.
Off and running.
This is a lot. I got to keep scoring everything. I'm like running all over the place back here.
Just keep the wins, Anthony. Just keep the wins.
All right.
Anthony, I'll keep score. I'll keep score down here.
Have one.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
It's that simple.
Is everybody else reset for question 2?
Yes.
All right. Clowney played with the NFL quarterback Stephon Gilmore at South Point High School.
Squeaky marker.
Boom.
All right. Tyvis is saying true. Bull's saying false.
G. Bush says false.
Oh boy.
And Jay says
Mikey
false.
said G. Mike said G. Bush didn't
right.
do well.
You
You
guys
already got
ready?
one right,
What's
so
the
this has
score?
got to be wrong.
Tyvis, you may or may not take the lead here.
No, I'm about to be.
Go ahead and take it, Steve.
Not going to take the lead.
True.
Damn.
No, I ain't taking the league. I'm back in it, though.
He's back in it. He's back in
back
it.
in it.
Anthony's struggling with
Tied.
math
I'm
right here.
really bad at keeping score back here.
I'm
Mike,
in it.
Right now, G.
Giving it up.
Uh-oh.
Jay and Tyvis all have one.
I'm reading the questions. That's all I'm doing.
Bull is 0-2.
I got 0.
This is why I'm the assistant producer. All right, everybody ready for next question?
Ready.
Right. All right, Clowney has played on 3 NFL teams.
I like seeing you guys think out here.
I don't got a thing.
I mean,
Hold your answer. Don't show me.
I'm only. I think there might have been a cup of coffee with another one.
Bull, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
I fear no man.
Jay says false.
G. Bush
is saying
true.
I know 100% this is false.
It's 4 teams.
Yeah.
It is correct.
That's.
It's Seattle, Tennessee, Houston, and the Browns.
Yeah, but that's. I mean.
What's that?
That's false.
Yeah,
Is it
right.
False. False is the
Yeah,
correct
let's take it.
answer.
It's false, yes.
See, I was afraid they were going to say, well, yeah, technically there were 3 teams, but there was also a 4th team. All right, very good.
All right, so Jay and Tyvis have 2, and me and G have 1.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
I knew
Correct.
that one for a fact.
All right, Clowney has scored 4 total touchdowns in his NFL career, 3 on fumble recoveries, and 1 interception return.
That I don't know.
You got a 50-50 shot at it, Tyvis.
I mean, how would anybody just know that?
Hold
Tyvis? That's
your
not like.
answer, Tyvis. Don't just show it yet.
Because I could have got up on it.
Yeah, Tyvis hasn't followed the rules in this entire game.
I know,
It's
he's
all
really
right.
throwing me off back here. It's fine.
How am I? What did I do?
All right, everyone's
said-
ready.
That's all right.
Is everybody ready?
Bull.
Bull.
Bull says
You're
true.
saying true.
True, yeah.
G. Bush says true. Tyvis says
False.
true.
True,
No,
I can't see.
Jay says false.
Jay says false.
Rent
Please, God, let it
Are
be
you all
true.
ready?
Rent
Please,
free.
let it be true.
And
Yes,
it
sir.
is true.
Yes, God! God dang it.
So Tyvis
go.
has 3.
Here we
And
go.
everyone else has 2 right now.
I'd just
Tyvis-
like to say, Mike, it is impossible
Very
to see
close.
Tyvis' board over here. You're right.
I told you you can't see
I didn't
it yet.
believe you.
Oh, I got to go like this for you?
Yeah, I can't
I
see
got
anything.
you.
All right, y'all
Y'all
ready for the
think
next
I make
question?
stuff
Yep,
up back
we're ready.
there
How
to
many
make
we have
y'all
left?
lives easy?
3?
4 left.
Look at him.
4 left.
You know, they're trying to figure it out.
I'm doing the math, Ty.
I'm not keeping score, so I don't know.
What's my
All right,
magic
ready.
number?
Clowney ran the 4th leg on his high school's 4x100 meter relay squad, helping them earn first place finish with 42.86 seconds.
This is question number 5.
This is great.
All right,
this
I'm
is
ready.
great game show music.
I hate it.
Bull.
Boom.
G. Bush
Bull,
says true.
We'll take you first.
He was not the final leg.
He says
False.
false.
True
Tyvis
by
says-
Tyvis, true by G. Bush, and false by Jay.
It's over.
Are y'all ready?
Let's see it.
It is
True.
false.
Let's go back in it.
So everyone is tied up at 3
Bro,
except
think
G.
about it. There's no
We have 3
way.
questions left.
There's no way he
Final
could have been
leg?
the final
No.
leg
True.
on a 4x that ran 42.
It could have been.
You want-
The second
do you
leg
want-
is
do you want the
most
truth?
important.
No, the 4th leg is always the fastest.
No,
want
it's
the
not.
truth?
It's the
Yes,
second
it
leg.
does.
I ran
You want-
track.
No,
the second
so
leg.
did I. Fourth leg
the
is always
fourth
the
leg is the
fastest.
strongest
What
person.
Carl Lewis run?
That's irrelevant.
Do you guys want
What did-
the
what
real
did-
answer to
what
that,
did
by the
he
way?
Go ahead.
Run.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Big Dog.
He did run the 4th leg. They finished 3rd.
Really? Well, that's why they finished
Nah,
third.
see?
That's why they
You
finished
don't get
third.
an apology.
That's why they finished third.
So what? They
God.
ran fourth leg.
To think that he'd be the fastest guy on the team.
I mean, you had
on
to.
a 42 4x1.
I mean, he was fast.
Question number 6.
All right, y'all ready?
All right, I'm back in it, Ty.
Clowney is still the highest rated recruit ever scouted by 247 Sports since its rankings began in 2000.
Once again, this is question 6. Jay, Tyvis, Bull, all tied
know.
at 3 apiece.
I don't know. Hold on. Leave me alone.
Tyvis, you have 2 options for an answer. Just
Yeah,
reminding you.
yeah.
He always does.
It's like waiting for his final take screen. It's like, you can answer faster.
Shots fired.
Bull, are you ready?
Yeah.
Bull doesn't sound very confident.
Bull says
Bull's going
true.
with true.
G. Bush says false.
Tyvis says true. Jay says false. Are you all ready? It's true.
Come on.
Mike, can we get a score reading out
Yes. Right now, Tyvis and Bull each have 4. Jay has 3. G has 2.
Damn.
there? All right, we have
2 questions left.
left here.
I'm sweeping him.
All right, everybody ready?
You gonna have
I
to.
thought he got surpassed.
I wanted to put fall so bad.
Robert Indici, the Ole Miss, was number 2.
All right. Clowney has played in more than 100 regular season NFL games.
These are good questions this week.
Yeah, it's almost like you made them.
I did.
What year did he get drafted?
What year did he blow up that Michigan player in the Outback Bowl? Remember
I remember that.
He knocked his helmet off.
2012.
12.
So that would be 10 seasons. Has he played 10 games?
All right, you guys ready?
That's such a sad question.
It's sad. We got it.
But yeah, Bull, are you ready?
I don't know that he's
I am, yes.
All right, we'll go with Bull first.
Watch
Bull saying false.
It's gonna be 99.
G. Bush is saying false.
Damn it.
Jay's saying true. Let's take it, Steve. It is in fact false.
It's
No!
98. 98.
Oh my God.
You know what? We have one question left.
He's the boss.
Thank
I
God.
changed my mind from there.
God, he
So
lost.
Tyvis and Bull are tied here.
Come on, Bull. I'm pulling for you,
One
kid.
question left.
Steve Becker has to work on a tiebreaker if they both get the same.
God, what a
Yeah,
boss.
Steve just texted me the tiebreaker question. All right. Clowney's youngest brother, Damon Clowney, is a running back at Ole Miss.
Oh, shoot. I don't know.
Come on, Bull. I'm counting on you. Tyvis cannot win this belt again.
Wow. It's like that.
It's like that. If it's not going to be me, it can't be you.
All right, I'm ready.
Hold
Tyvis,
on.
you ready?
No,
No,
I'm
Tyvis is not ready.
Tyvis, you have 3 seconds.
Well, I'll start with G. Bush. G. Bush said true. Jay said false.
I went with false.
Tyvis is saying true. Bull, what are you saying? False.
Oh.
All right.
So we're going to have a winner.
Come on, Bull.
Anybody got a drum roll? Anybody? 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 We're saying true. We're seeing false. We're seeing true. We're seeing false. Take it, Steve.
Let it be true.
It is false.
Yeah!
And I tied you, Ty.
He is
That's what's up.
He is a linebacker at Ole Miss, not a running back.
All right, Mike, let's get a final score reading.
Final score is Bull wins. Tyvis comes in second.
I tied Tyvis.
Tyvis and Jay came in second.
I
Actually,
lost the
G.
top.
Bush came in last. It bounced over there.
Ty. At least
got-
you didn't beat me, man.
Yes.
We got
Way to go, Bull.
We got
Nice
a runaway
job.
marker cap
Thank
here, which
you.
is
Bull is the
I'd like to-
champion.
All right, also,
Thank
guys,
the Academy.
Look at this.
You broke the marker.
You're such a child.
breaking news. What's up,
Bull
Anthony?
said
so I have
Bull
breaking
said
news
I'd like
from
to
our executive
thank the
producer, Steve
Academy.
Becker.
Oh, wow.
He just texted all of us, star Bills quarterback Josh Allen has a UCL sprain, slight tear, according to Rap Sheet.
Yeah, that means he'll play against us, I bet, then. The only way he was going to miss us, I think, would have been if it was a tear. Yeah.
We'll see what the update on that is as we look forward. But obviously,
So
No timetable released by the Bills.
Not that I
Guys,
saw,
it says
but I will
he's.
take
I
a
got
look.
it. I got it. It says he's day to day. They
Yeah.
will see if he's able to play on Sunday.
Yeah, he'll play against us.
And by the way, if he doesn't, you know who their backup is?
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum, our old boy.
That is correct. By the way, guys, another note that we'd be interested in: Jose Ramirez underwent right thumb surgery today to repair the UCL ligament in his thumb. He's expected to begin baseball workouts in January and will
Great.
be ready for spring training.
Awesome. When he's
Good
gonna
news.
he's gonna hit 40 home runs next year. He would have had 40 this year, in my opinion, if he hadn't
No
suffered
doubt.
the thumb injury.
I'm
he was on
bummed.
pace.
I'm bummed, man.
You're disappointed, aren't you?
I had Jay.
You did. You had me. I caught you at the goal
I
line.
had my speech ready.
That was like the who's a Super Bowl got caught from behind and fumbled.
Yeah, Don Beebe caught
Yes.
caught the old Cowboys
I was
lineman.
about Michael Jordan. I was going for
Leon
Lent, yes,
6 range.
yes.
Hey, did you find any luck finding
Billy
I'm
White
still
Shoes?
looking,
Billy
but if
White
you guys want to
Shoes
start
Johnson?
getting into the Cavs, I will see if I can find something for tag board for us.
Yeah, our Cavs conversation got all goofed up today because someone here thought that they were playing the Warriors.
Are they
tonight.
playing the Warriors, Mike? I don't remember.
No, they're playing the Kings. But hey, I'll pivot and I'll
this
say
is
something.
sad.
No, listen. If it was the Warriors, obviously it's a much bigger game. They're playing the Kings. It is
Yeah.
what it is. But coming off a loss in the fashion they lost to the Clippers on Monday night, I do think it's important for this Cavs team to come out and reestablish themselves.
1,000%.
And come out and not show a hangover from what happened. Because
they have the Warriors coming up after that.
And I want to see this young team prove that they're not looking ahead at certain games yet, to prove that they still have kind of the hunger that we saw in that first 10-game stretch where they didn't overlook Detroit when they went on the road to start this road trip with the Lakers come up. They played without Garland and Mitchell and won that game by double digits in easy fashion. They come in, they crush the Lakers despite being down 17 early. They come back, win by 14. The Clippers game didn't end well, but I still think we can take something out of this Kings game by how they respond, especially early in the game. Come out, never let the Kings get into this.
Yeah.
Never even give them
You weren't here. You didn't have a chance, Ty, to talk about the Cavs collapse.
The Clippers?
Yeah.
They lost by 2 points.
Listen, they lost by 2. That's not the storyline. The storyline, they were up 13 with 4 to go.
Well, the shot selection became very terrible.
It did.
And I didn't know what the heck they were doing.
And Donovan Mitchell was a ghost.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway? What was your takeaway from that loss?
I think that's just a one-off.
You do?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where, Donovan Mitchell's been phenomenal this whole time he's been with the Cavs. He's entitled to have one off night. It's not like
he didn't even have an off night.
He just kind of
He had one shot the final 7 minutes.
He took off the last
basically.
Yeah.
And, Jacoby Brissetted it.
I went to the home opener it was a couple Sundays ago, and I was concerned watching that game because they were up 12 or 14 points in that one, and the next thing you know, Donovan Mitchell didn't just disappear. He turned into, I don't even know,
Westbrook?
Stephen Mitchell, just some guy that was out there. Mm-hmm. And as a result, they went to overtime, and then in overtime, he kind of took over.
You're talking about the Celtics one?
No, the home opener. I think it was against Atlanta.
No, it was.
Who was the home
I was
opener?
at the damn game. Who they played in their home opener for crying out loud.
Was it the 76ers? Let me look. Hold on.
No, 76ers was preseason.
It was after they went to Chicago. They played it.
You went to
they lost
the
to
game
Toronto.
and you don't know?
Went to the game, and I can't remember. All I can think of now
It wasn't the Celtics?
is the
No,
Clippers.
they lost to Toronto in the season opener.
Yes, then they went to Chicago, and they won. Then they came home against.
It was Washington.
Washington,
There
my
you
God.
go.
Oh,
Yes.
I watched that one too.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if
I was at the game.
I couldn't think of it. All I could think of was the debacle against the Clippers.
We did a post show for that game and we all forgot.
No, we didn't. Not for the Wizards.
No, it was did we
Raptors.
not do it for
No,
No,
Toronto.
just
We
for the
did a post.
The Raptors for the season opener.
The
I
thing
give
with
up. I'll stop talking.
the thing with Mitchell though is we've seen throughout his career him be an elite closer, but him also float in and out of games offensively. And I think what we're seeing now in 10 games with the Cavs is a microcosm of that. And it's not necessarily a knock on Mitchell.
It's hard to play that at that level
for
48
stretches.
minutes every single night.
Exactly. And even LeBron plays off, takes stretches. Kevin Durant does. Every great player.
LeBron's heart ain't in there.
Giannis might be the only guy in the league because,
of course he is.
because he's so big and he scores so much easier than everyone else just by his pure physical stature and the.
You know what it reminded me of? The end of the Clippers game and the end of the Wizards game, notwithstanding the overtime, it reminded me of the Cavs late in the season last year, particularly in the play-in game, when you're looking around saying, who's going to score a bucket?
Yeah, they couldn't get nothing going.
Yeah. And because Mitchell wasn't involved, and I credit Ty Lue for that. Ty Lue did a great job of keeping the ball out of his hands. But nobody on that Cavs team was able to pick up the slack when clearly Mitchell was being taken out of the game by the defense.
Well, the good thing is Ty Lue is an excellent coach.
He is.
And it's a good thing that he kind of exploited something. So now they got this whole season to figure out if this happens again, we should have an answer for it the next time. If the JB
guys,
go ahead.
I think, sorry, Tyvus, I just think you guys are making way too big a deal about this. It's a regular season game. They're playing great. They're learning to play together. The Big Four and the Cavaliers have played like 25 minutes together on the floor. So the fact that there's going to be some hiccups along the way shouldn't be surprising.
We're not being critical, Bull. Basically, what we're doing is we're saying this is the only blemish we've seen.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah,
everything else.
Nobody said the season's over anything.
But they have to find a way.
Saying,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, Mike's saying, like, Donovan Mitchell taking plays off. I don't see it that way.
I'm not saying he's taking plays off. What I'm just saying is he continues to learn how to play with Darius Garland. It's only been, I think, 3.5 games now that they've actually shared the court together.
It is.
There are going to be stretches where Mitchell, and we saw it in Utah, where he phases himself out of the offense to let Garland, let other guys take over. And in a close game like Sunday or Monday was against the Clippers,
somebody else has to be able to
step
take
up. And
agreed, but I don't think he did. But you're making it seem like he's phased himself out on purpose. I don't think he phased himself out. I think Ty Lue did a good job kind of taking him out a little bit.
Have you ever seen LeBron not touch the ball for 11 and he's an elite scorer in the league.
He didn't touch the ball.
It's a Cleveland thing where the star don't touch the ball. You know, it's the Browns is doing it.
They're taking a page out of the Chubb playbook then. He's our best player, so let's keep him on the sidelines.
It's not even a knock necessarily on Mitchell. It's how the game played out.
It's not a knock. I think more than anything, we're getting greedy. That's what happens when you suddenly have a team that's very, very good. It's been the blemish, if you will. And I thought it happened against Toronto, too, in the opening season loss. I think they were up 9 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And in a blink, they were down.
Yeah.
And I think that had a lot to do with the fact Toronto just was hitting their threes and we were not. But I think as you're looking at this team, it's fair now to ask how they get in the upper tier of the East. I think that's a reasonable expectation.
For sure.
I think everybody on the panel seemed to agree that we thought the Cavs were going to be a 5.
5 or 6 is what I
said.
But
after watching, and I know that it's only 15% of the season, but after seeing the first 10 games, I've reassessed.
I have too.
Because I thought there would be a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of things that they had to work out. It hasn't been that way. It really hasn't.
Right.
But there still may be.
There still may be
those bumps in the road.
Listen, they're going to hit a stretch where they lose 3 of 4, and they're going to lose to teams that they should beat. That is coming for sure. But I've reassessed. After I've watched the first 10 games.
So are you worried about tonight?
I'm not worried about tonight, no. But I agree with Mike.
Not even with De'Aaron Fox?
I'm not worried. It's just I want to see him respond.
It makes a very good point. This is kind of the hammock between 2 tough games. The Clippers, I think, are a good team, and they're figuring themselves out too. Mm-hmm. But it's imperative that they go in tonight and take care of business and don't go into Golden State with 2 straight losses. Because we know this West Coast trip can be a grind.
It can be.
It typically
it is.
It kind of makes or breaks some teams. You see what they are when they do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important they come out, play very well for 48 minutes, finish the deal, go into Golden State. You're kind of playing with house money at that point. If you get another win on the West Coast trip, that's great. If you don't, you lost to a good team.
It's not like Golden State is playing great basketball.
They're not, but they're capable of beating anybody.
And they're still the defending champions. It's still Steph Curry. It's still Klay Thompson. It's still Draymond Green.
But the Cavs is like one of the best defensive teams in the league right now. They second?
Remember I said
second in both.
We know they're better than that, but they're 4 and 6.
But I'm saying the Cavs play really good defense, so this would actually be, to me, that's one of the best tests to see a team that's historically good at offense and being able to hit threes. Let's see where y'all really match up because all these other games, y'all beat the Celtics. That's a great win. You beat them twice. But now we're going against a team who historically for the past, 6 seasons dominated the NBA. Now we want to see y'all. It's a measuring stick to me.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a nice. I think Boston was a yardstick game. Both Boston games. They won those.
Especially the second one, when Boston obviously came in and wanted.
Oh, they wanted to win that.
Yeah. So I agree with you, McNuggets. I think, you don't want to look past this. I think that the mistake that teams can make is looking past an opponent, looking down the road, thinking about Golden State, and getting tripped up tonight. So take care of, beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
It's too early for them to even be. You shouldn't be overlooking anything. It's only game 12 or something.
It'll be game 11.
Yeah, so
10 in.
This ain't the time to overlook anything. You need to take everything.
They have the second best record in the NBA. I mean, I don't. I think there's zero to worry about at the moment.
Your Milwaukee Bucks.
You see, the Bucks lost, and I didn't fret.
No, nobody's tripping here. It's 8-2. Nobody's real.
Tyvis, who gives a rat's ass about the Bucks? I mean, really?
He's a Bucks
Nobody
fan.
cares about the Bucks.
No, listen, he's a Bucks fan, Bull. He's hiding it.
No.
I thought you were just a Giannis fan.
I am a Giannis fan.
Yeah, but he's secretly rooting for the Bucks.
No, but I cleared it up. If the Bucks played the Cavs, I would root for the Cavs.
All right. So
other than that, you're a Bucks fan.
I can't wait for those 2 Bucks
next
matchups
Wednesday.
later. Yeah, next Wednesday.
I'm looking forward to that too.
It's going
Is
down.
the first one in Cleveland or is the first one in Milwaukee?
I think it's at Milwaukee.
They're both in Milwaukee.
Oh, they're both in Milwaukee?
The 2 games in November are both in Milwaukee.
Wow.
Oh, I thought the second one was a home and home.
Yeah, I thought it was a home and home too.
That's going to be fascinating because those 2 teams match up very
I
differently.
love the way the Cavs match up. I do think
I do too.
I'm not saying the Cavs are a better team, but what I'm saying is I think of all the teams in the NBA, I think they're best equipped to stop Giannis.
I agree.
Although Giannis killed the Cavs big guys last year.
Well, that was last year.
They killed. He killed everyone last
It'll
year.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah. Let's face it. He kills everyone.
I actually want to see Mobley actually kind of, because I think he's going. Everybody says he's going to be the star at his team in the next 5 years. So I want to see him go up against Giannis and see what he does.
I do too.
Do you guys like Bill Simmons? Are you a Bill Simmons fan?
I love Bill Simmons.
No.
Bill Simmons tweeted out yesterday.
Bull, no.
That he went to the Clippers-Cavs game on Monday night.
Yeah.
First time seeing Mobley in person, and I forget the exact quote, but he said it was eerily similar watching Mobley to a young Kevin Garnett. In the way they moved, their ability to cover everything on the perimeter. And Giannis is a different matchup. He's not your traditional wing because he's 7 feet, 245 pounds, sculpted like a statue. Like
I think that's a pretty good comparison.
A lot of people call him Kevin Garnett.
But
they're not calling him the big ticket. He's the little ticket.
But
right
that's the potential future of the skinny ticket as he continues to develop. And if you could add a Kevin Garnett, 80% of Kevin Garnett
I'd take
the
the
two
little
guards.
ticket. I would. I absolutely would.
Evan Mobley isn't a trash talker like KG, though.
No, I don't think he talks.
He's much more
Not
quiet.
yet. Maybe
I think
he
he's signed
not as fiery.
He needs that.
He doesn't have
He needs that edge. Evan Mobley, you need
he's
that
young.
edge.
He's young. He'll be he'll pick it up
This is
eventually.
the thing. When you're young, you're supposed to trash talk all the time. As you get older,
That's fair.
you mature out of it where you don't do it as much. But he needs it right now.
Who is the fire?
He told Carmelo that Lala tastes like Cheerios.
One of the best trash talk lines of all time.
Oh my God. Kevin Garnett he brought the fire.
Yes.
Who is that guy for this Cavs team? Is it Mitchell? Because I don't know that it's Mitchell.
I don't know if we know.
They might not have that
I
guy.
don't think they got
Bull,
a
is
guy
it a
like
problem
that.
if they don't have that guy? Because I think in the NBA playoffs, you need that guy.
Could it be Robin Lopez? Could it be Rob? Is he not going to play enough?
No, he's not. He's a fringe guy. I need my incinerator to be on the floor for 40 minutes.
Man, I don't think they
Maybe
got
that's
that.
the one piece they're missing.
Man, Isaac Okoro got to have some value.
Isaac Okoro. I'm done with Isaac Okoro.
He need to be that guy.
Listen,
He stinks.
I'm done with Isaac Okoro.
Listen, Isaac, put the camera. Isaac, everybody in Cleveland, they starting to hate you, so you might as well.
Not hate.
You might as well be that villain and just embrace it. Be that guy. Just everybody hates you. Just say all type of crazy stuff on the court to people. Just embrace that role.
He's got to get on the court to say the crazy stuff first.
True.
Though,
That's
true.
true.
He's lost his spot in the rotation already. It's only
He's
10
been a
games
big.
in.
Dean Wade
He's
can
been
do it.
the disappointment for Dean Wade.
Why you got? I'm just throwing
Bro,
that.
if Dean Wade is our incinerator, we're in trouble.
I talked to all those guys.
I'm throwing him out there.
I need it to be Garland
It's not Garland.
or Mitchell
It might
or
be.
Mobley.
It won't be him.
He's too
It's
quiet.
got to be one of your core four, and I don't see any of those guys having that internal fire.
Of those four, Mitchell's the only one with the makeup to do it. Because it's not Mobley. Jared Allen's too busy. And I love Jared Allen.
Yeah,
he
but
plays
they just
Pokemon.
don't.
I don't think he connects
It's
with the
kind of
guys
like what
that.
we've talked about with the Browns. We're looking at the Browns like, can somebody please get pissed off?
Just stab.
Can somebody please do it?
Stab somebody.
I don't want anybody to stab anybody. I want somebody to be an incinerator on the floor.
I don't
agree.
think we got.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
I don't think they have a
All right,
real
well,
one yet.
we will talk about that throughout the season because, as you guys know, when the calendar turns to April and you start making your run in the NBA playoffs, you need that guy.
Yes, you do.
You need that Draymond
Jay Crowder.
Green. Jay Crowder might be. Listen, Jay
would
Crowder,
be that guy.
Bull, Jay Crowder might be that guy.
He would be that.
He
guy.
is that guy if you could get him. He is that guy in the locker room.
Is he playing for Phoenix?
No.
Bull, we've
It's-
talked about Jay Crowder a number of times. I think he's coming here.
Isn't he the missing piece?
I think he's the missing piece. We
He's
talked
the
about
one
him
missing piece.
earlier in the season, and we didn't even talk about. We weren't talking about him in that vein, although we said he's a
Right.
veteran that guys can rally around. But Bull, to your point, he could be that guy that gets everybody else stirred up in the playoffs.
He would 100% be that guy if he came.
All right, so Jay Crowder, go out and get him, make that happen. Okay, great. We solved that problem. We solved that problem.
And also, make sure y'all subscribe while y'all at it. Hit the like button and hit the bell so when you
now, what about the
Become a member.
The button is right by. The join button is right by the subscribe button on the YouTube page. So go to the same place. Just hit that join button and become a member.
I want Bull to give his best pitch on why people should subscribe or actually become members.
And then we got Dave Richard,
I
right?
think.
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk to Dave in a second. But I think You should become a Coaches Tier member. The bonus content alone is worth less than $60 for an entire year. That's over 200 days of bonus content for less than $60.
So we're talking about, like, what, 35 cents a day for bonus content?
Pretty much.
There you go.
Pretty much.
All right, that's a good pitch, Bull.
$60 a year.
That's a good pitch. So join up. How do you do that? How do you become a member?
Just click the join button on the YouTube page. Go to the YouTube page, click the join button.
Yeah.
Or if you're in chat, there is a $ at the bottom, and it's in that. You click on that, and the option's right there.
Dollar bill. Okay, are we going to do today's Waiver Wire Wednesday? Let me call up my roster. Let me call up my roster, baby. I'm telling you, Dave has helped me with 3 fantastic pickups this
year. I'm down bad, and I need help.
Who's out there, Dave? I got my phone ready.
Yeah, so
what's up?
Dave, good to see you.
I just texted Dave last night. I was asking him an opinion on a couple of wide receivers, and he got back to me right away. I appreciate that, Dave.
And he always has great advice. So who are guys you're hot on this week? Just general guys, any position, guys that are available that we should be thinking about picking up.
So now I'm nervous about giving the name, Jay, because I don't want you all to race at the same time to go and get them, especially if you can just ad drop right now. But I got to do it. There's a running back that might get an opportunity to lead his team. It's Steelers running back Jaylen Waddle. Mike Tomlin talked in his first press conference since their bye week about giving him more opportunities. I've been seeing it on film for weeks. Najee doesn't look right. Jaylen Waddle works better with this offensive line and the offense in general. And just to back it up, and I've got my laptop on my lap just to make sure that I get this straight. Warren is better than Najee Harris in yards per carry, rush EPA, yards before contact per rush, yards after contact per rush, percentage of runs that are 0 or negative yards. He's only had one of those on the season. 3.4% of his total rushes have gone for 0 or negative yards. And of the rushes he has that goes 5 or more yards, that's happened 41% of the time. He's awesome. He's explosive. There's going to be a concern about just how much work he gets in the Steelers offense, but I think he's going to be the guy that has a chance to take the main rushing job away from Najee Harris and maybe bring some life to this Pittsburgh Steelers run offense. He's going to get that chance. And whenever there's a running back that's like that on the waiver wire in week 10, you make a beeline to go get him. There's got to be somebody on your bench, maybe even a second DST that you just don't need. Worst case scenario, drop your kicker, pick up Jaylen Waddle, figure out your lineup later. I think he's got that much potential to be great for fantasy managers, including anybody that picked up an Indianapolis Colts running back between now and I guess we have to say July.
Wait a minute, Dave. That's first of all, I got Najee Harris on one of my leagues. But the good news is that I traded him. I just traded him yesterday, actually, so it worked out. I traded him for Brian Robinson and Cortland Sutton, so there you go.
Nelson Aguilar. I have Nelson Aguilar. Should I drop him and pick up Warren? Aguilar's been a pig.
Bye-bye, Nelson. Yeah, for sure he's gone.
Stinks.
But here's the best part.
Go on.
That's not the only name I got for you. It's just the only running back that I've got for you.
Okay.
Well,
so I'm bringing all kinds of gifts.
Who else you got?
On
Terrence Marshall, Dave.
Terrace Marshall's not bad, but he's not even my third favorite receiver to pick up off the waiver wire this week. He was good last week. 5 end zone targets in his last 3 games, including 2 from Baker for the Panthers last week. But he's not my favorite. I like Darnell Mooney. He's still out there in a decent amount of leagues, probably the shallow leagues. You'll find him. That's the number 1 receiver in Chicago. Mecole Hardman. Touchdowns in 4 straight games, at least 40 yards in each of his past 3 straight games. The guy's on fire. I certainly expect him to continue to be a touchdown threat for the Kansas City Chiefs offense. When they're inside the 10, he's getting the ball, not their running backs. I like him a lot. Darius Slayton is the number 1 wide receiver for the Giants. I know it's the Giants, but he is a big play guy. And somebody near and dear to each and every one of you, Donovan Peoples-Jones, available in 3/4 of CBS Sports leagues, going to be that number 2 receiver for the Browns, has at least 9 PPR points, I believe, in 4 straight games, and he's got 12 in 3 of the 4. I think he's got a chance to be a decent contributor, maybe one of those flex guys. But wait, I'm not done yet. Wow. We've got tight ends too, and I know that there are tight ends that you guys need. Greg Dulcich in Denver is one of them. He's out there in about half of CBS Sports leagues. And so, too, is David Njoku. He's expected back this week from his ankle sprain. Hopefully he can come through, get you maybe 10 PPR points per week. That's good for a tight end.
Very good. You have some questions for him, Anthony?
Yeah, so Earl is out there asking around the internet, and whenever we ask around the internet, it's brought to you by our good friends at PCC Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great health benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio, and all locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 an hour and up. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So Dave, Earl went out, and we also have a super chat from Charles T. Dave Mooney or Donovan Peoples-Jones in a half PPR league?
Darnell Mooney.
I go to Mooney first, especially if it's a half PPR league. I just think he's got more upside for big plays than Peoples-Jones does.
Dave, right, hold on one second, Anthony. Because you brought up Donovan Peoples-Jones, I loved him. I picked him up like a month ago, and I begrudgingly had to trade him in a league today because I really needed a running back, and I traded him and Adam Thielen for Deontay Foreman and Paris Campbell. What do you think? Did I screw that up?
I like it because you needed the running back. Foreman's going to be the lead running back for the Panthers as long as he's healthy. He had a terrible game last week, so someone's probably thinking, yeah, I sold high on Foreman, but that's not the case.
Right.
Great matchup this Thursday against the Falcons. And Peoples-Jones is nice to have, and so is Thielen, but those guys live around 10 to 12 PPR points.
Right.
That's good when you're picking up a receiver off the waiver wire. That's not so good when you're looking for a must-start type of guy. I don't know how often we're going to see big numbers from either of those two receivers. Thumbs up on that deal.
All right, good. Go ahead, Anthony. What else we got from the fans?
One more question left for you. From Porterhouse Steak 72 wants to know, should he start Justin Fields or Tua this week?
That's the most delicious name, and now I've got some ideas for dinner. I love them both. I'm going to go with Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Fields. I think that Tua is in a better position to routinely get 275 to 300 yards and multiple touchdowns per week. I am a little bit worried about the passing upside for Justin Fields, and I don't think he's going to run for 100 yards every week. But that being said, he is taking on Detroit. That is a favorable matchup for him. I'd still take Tua against the Browns.
Hey, Dave, Deshaun Watson's going to be back after 3 more games, right? So you got to start thinking about adding him to the mix. I just traded Kirk Cousins for him in another league.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I had Mark Andrews hurt last week, so I traded Cousins for what do you call it? Isaiah Likely and Deshaun Watson because I had 3 quarterbacks in a 2-quarterback league, and I figured I could survive with Taylor Heineke as my second quarterback for 3 weeks until Watson comes back. Because my expectation is Watson will be better than Cousins in those final 4 or 5 games, whatever it is. Am I nuts? What are your expectations for Watson after not playing for 2 years from a fantasy perspective?
I mean, that's kind of the thick of it, is that we just don't know what to expect from Deshaun Watson. Can he come right back in and play like a superstar like we saw in Houston? I mean, I know that's the hope for you guys. I know that's the hope of everybody in Cleveland.
Sure.
But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I was a little disappointed with what I saw from him in the preseason, to be honest, but that's the preseason, and that's just to get your feet wet and to start to get to know your teammates a little bit. I do worry about his upside and just him being, like I talked about with Tua, 300 yards, multiple touchdowns. I am a little bit worried about that, but I think he can be better than Cousins, and you know this because you've had Cousins on your team. He's been right around like 21 fantasy points per game. Might even be averaging less than that on a per-game basis. He's good. That's actually good for a fantasy quarterback this year, but it's not great. I would say Watson's got a chance to be, at worst, a little bit better than that once he's back and playing.
Mahomes is my quarterback 1, so I was worth it to take the risk for me. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
I'm riding Mahomes too. Dave, thanks. We'll see you next week. Waiver Wire Wednesday. We got about 7 minutes to do final takes. You are up first. Tyvis Powell.
Oh, God. I'll wait for the screen.
Got to see that face on TV before you start talking. Wow, he's going with the guards.
They selected Tyvis Powell with the first pick. My final take today is this. So, it's funny. It's actually a story time. So, my wife's cousin, who happens since we're married, it'd be my cousin now, but for this story purposes, it's my wife's cousin. They just recently had their second son. So, congratulate to Kate and Avery for having their son. And after she delivered the baby, obviously they have to stay in the hospital to recover. So she's in the room and she looks up, and, and at these hospitals, they have pictures of babies all on the wall and stuff. So she so happened to look up and she sees a picture of a baby. And she takes a picture of it and she sends it to my wife and she says, "Is this Lay? Layliana is my oldest daughter." So my wife shows me the picture and I look at it and I say, "That is Layliana." So I say that to say, Layliana is up at Akron's hospital somewhere. It's either in Worcester or in Akron, I don't know. But she's up on the wall. Her baby pictures, her newborn baby pictures is on the wall. And I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not, do I feel mad because they didn't even ask us about this? Not necessarily. I'm kind of honored that my daughter is that beautiful and that amazing to this woman that took the pictures, that she felt the need that it needed to be hanging up. So I don't know. I feel I'm actually okay with it. I'm content that the fact that my daughter is hanging up on the wall. Hopefully one day when she's a little bit older, I can take her up there and it's still sitting there and I can say, "Hey, that's you." So, hey, shout out to you, Layliana. You're a model.
Now we want to see the picture.
You want to see the picture?
We want to see the picture.
Well, I'll show you the picture.
So he's going to dig for his phone. He's going to call up the picture.
You want to see the picture?
I think you're right. I think you should be honored.
Do you want to see the actual picture or do you want to see the picture of it hanging up in the hospital?
They should have asked you, though, Tyvis.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have just put that up.
I think it's a little creepy that they didn't ask.
Yes.
So this is the picture hanging up.
Okay, can we show that on camera?
Let me see. It could be.
Show it to 3. Steve, do you see that?
He's going to take a sec to zoom.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Look how tiny. My goodness.
She's hanging up, man. I couldn't believe it.
Honored.
Your wife was okay with that?
Honored.
So this is what's funny about the whole situation, Bull, is that so now it's time for my next daughter. She's turned 6 months and we didn't get her no picture. So I said, we need to get my 6-month daughter, some pictures. And we're going back to this woman, and it's going to be a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, how did it happen that my daughter ended up there?
It's going to be a very interesting conversation.
Very good.
When we get there.
Especially if she's getting paid for it.
Yeah.
All right, that'll be a problem. All right, Bull, you're up.
So, guys, this afternoon, I'm going to be doing a podcast in which I'm going to preview the Guardians offseason. I know we're going to talk about it a little bit tomorrow. A couple things that I wanted to mention. Number one, John Heyman said today that he's heard that the Guardians finally have money to spend.
Yes.
He suggested that the payroll will finally go up this year, and I hope that doesn't mean like $5 million. I hope it's a significant increase. But to me, if I'm the Guardians, there's 3 things I'd like to see them do this offseason. Number one, upgraded catcher. I don't want to I know Bo Naylor's a prospect. They have 1 million prospects. Not every player on the team has to be a young guy. I think they should go get a veteran catcher. And I've got a name that hasn't been talked about that I'm going to get into in the podcast today that I love. They'll probably have to give up a lot in trade assets, but they'd have control of this guy for 5-6 years, and I think he's a great emerging star at catcher. So I'll get into that. The second thing they need to add is a power bat, whether that's at first base or DH. That's something they got to do. I think Rizzo's not going to be realistic because of the qualifying offer from the Yankees. I think he's going to re-sign there. But there's a couple of guys I'm looking at there. And a third thing, a little under the radar, I think the Guardians should move on from Zach Plesac, trade him, get what they can, and then make a move for a starting pitcher. Remember, guys, the Guardians are going to have major things to deal with in terms of their 40-man roster. They have even more prospects than they can possibly keep. They've got to use that prospect depth to acquire a few. They don't need a lot of things, but they need a power bat, a catcher, and I think one more quality middle-of-the-rotation starting pitcher. With those 3 things, they should be big favorites to win the division, even if there's some regression from some of the young players next year. So I'm going to do 30 minutes on that this afternoon.
All right, very good. That's on his podcast. You can see it right here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show channel, YouTube channel. I'm with you 100%, Bull. I'm anxious to see who you have as the name at catcher, but I think you nailed what our needs are. It's a very short list. We have a lot of trade assets and prospects.
Yep.
I think we've got to deal some of these guys, get some pieces, spend some money, and go win this thing. Mike.
I'll make this real quick. We got 90 seconds, but I've fallen out of love recently. I used to love college basketball.
Yeah.
Every Monday was Big Monday. The Big East, the old rivalries, Georgetown, Syracuse, UConn, the schools go on and on, Boston College. It was appointment television for me. And then I went on ESPN.com Tuesday morning doing some show prep and realized the college basketball season tipped off on Monday. There was 100 games played, and I didn't hear about a single damn one of them. I couldn't tell you who the All-Americans are going into this season. I can't tell you who is the expected preseason champion. Do y'all remember who won the championship last year?
Yeah, Kansas, right?
It was Kansas, yeah. But guess what?
We had to think about it.
You got to think about it for a sec. It strikes me that as I get older and my mind gets distracted with other things and work and everything, you know, I just don't have the bandwidth to love college basketball anymore. So I'm letting you go college basketball until March, and then I'll bet on every game and become a degenerate gambler again. And that'll be fun, and I'll love you again for that 4-week stretch. But in general, I have to say goodbye.
Breaks my
heart. It's been a great run, but until we meet again.
Welcome to the rest of America, because we've been there for years. I know the diehards have been holding on tight, but college basketball, to me, offers one thing: March. And that's it. I don't care about it.
And I was a huge college basketball fan.
And I played college basketball.
You know what a headline was that I saw this morning? Georgetown snaps 22-game losing streak.
21. But yes.
21.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
to Coppin State. Like they're
State.
celebrating an overtime win against Coppin State.
Wait a minute.
And John Thompson III is the coach.
And we talking about basketball.
I think it's Patrick Ewing still.
Yeah, you're right. It is Patrick Ewing.
And we talking college basketball. Ohio State girls, shout out to y'all. Y'all won Tennessee. Let's go.
That was big. Yeah, that was big. That was big. They a huge upset of number one. Do we have Billy White Shoes Johnson? We'll say goodbye with that. All you young kids that have never heard of him, here he is. He's the godfather of NFL celebrations.
See you tomorrow.
This is amazing, Jay.
And listen, that's what started it all. That's what started it all. And a happy birthday to Steve's mom, 100 years young.
Sweet Dorothy.
Still beautiful as ever. Dorothy, thanks for giving us Steve. We love him. See you tomorrow, 22-hour break.